the best place to work.
I love working here.
I feel very blessed.
I love it here.
I look forward to coming to work every day, being a part of this team.
Like a family away from home.
Where everyone feels like everybody knows their name.
A city that supports you. We see that with our benefits.
A pension, vacation days, job security.
Being able to be heard.
We feel valued. We feel respected.
Lease Summit is a very progressive city.
It's growing, it's thriving.
We have this drive towards not just doing a job, but doing it with a spirit of excellence. I had the opportunity to continue to grow, regardless of 30 plus years doing this kind of work.
It's more than just dollars and cents.
We're here really to give back.
Providing a service to better a community.
To go out and serve people.
To be a part of something bigger than yourself. If I would have known what I know now, years ago, I would have been here much sooner.
Hello, Lease Summit. I'm Jordan. Here's your flash briefing for the week of January 5th. City Council will meet for a regular session Tuesday night at 6 in Council Chambers in City Hall. Meetings are open to the public or watch live on the city's YouTube channel. If you can't watch, catch the recorded meeting on demand on the YouTube channel or by subscribing to the Council Debrief newsletter, which breaks down 3 to 4 key agenda items. Subscribe at cityofls.net. Low temperatures are in the forecast this weekend. Be sure to protect your pipes by doing these 4 simple tasks. Disconnect hoses from outside spigots, leave cabinet doors open for warm air circulation, let water trickle to keep it flowing, and insulate pipes and faucets in unheated areas. Find more winterization tips at lswater.net. Join our team at the City of Lease Summit. The city offers rewarding career opportunities, a positive environment, and fantastic benefits. View all open opportunities at lspeople.net. Ready to feel stronger and healthier in the new year? Rev Up and Reload is a Lease Summit Parks and Recreation 6-week comprehensive wellness program designed to achieve your health goals. Receive nutrition classes and enjoy a group training atmosphere. Sign up at lsparks.net. Thanks for listening and have a great week.
Officers en route 914, armed robbery.
Welcome to the Lease Summit Sign Department. We are going to walk you through our process from start to finish. We make signs as needed here. It's not like we just go out into the field and place a speed limit sign here, no parking here. Our traffic engineers, they go through and they'll do field studies. They'll send us down an engineering work order for us to go out, place new signs or remove signs as needed. Coming from the material, our blanks come in and they're just aluminum blanks. We can put our white, our red, our fluorescent yellow, green, whatever. And basically what it looks like is just that there. Throw it up into the roller. And once we got it covered, take it to our work table here, and Tim will cut the corners, cut all the access off to where it's lined up right. As far as the plotter and the software that we use, there's a street name sign there, and he's gonna go ahead and print that out on the plotter so you can see the plotter and how it operates and runs. There's standards for the height, even just on letters on the sign blank. Basically what we have on the computer there is it's pretty much set up to those. And it goes through, it's got a very small but sharp needle that goes through and cuts everything out, letter by letter. Once that's done cutting, our next stage would be bringing it over here. Currently picking out the sign letters right now. We call it weeding or picking or however you want to call it. Next, putting it on the transfer tape. Then after it's taped, we bring it over to the roller. That's where we apply it to the actual sign blank. And we'll roll it through one time just to get the air bubbles out. And the last stage is basically just taking the transfer tape off the front of it. And there's a finished product of the street name sign. We'll take you out to the field and show you our process that we go through. We're gonna go out and follow our sign guys and get something installed for you. This is where we check our underground utilities. Tim, you got AT&T?
AT&T's back here.
Evergy, Google, so we should be good to go. We normally put all of our stuff together out in the field. Then once the base is installed, we'll go ahead and put the post in there. We've come up to perfect. And that's how we do it. Simple. Quick.
The City of Lease Summit has hundreds of traffic lights across its more than 1,000 lane miles, all managed by the city's public works traffic technicians. The work happens inside those metal boxes on the side of each intersection. Inside, technicians program a device called the controller. The controller communicates directly with each signal head via underground wires, telling each light when to turn on and off based on a programmed cycle. City traffic engineers design this cycle to allow traffic to flow as efficiently as possible for that particular intersection. In order to best match current traffic patterns, they install something called a detection system. Detection systems have taken many forms over the years, from sensors in the pavement to radar boxes. But in Lease Summit, they primarily consist of cameras, which workers mount above the traffic signals. These cameras don't record video or your speed. Instead, they monitor the spaces at the front of the intersection and identify when a vehicle is present in a specific spot. Once a vehicle is identified, the detection system sends a message to the controller, which then adapts its standard cycle to best serve the cars that are present. The pedestrian button works in a similar way. When the button is pressed, the controller receives a signal, requesting that it allow that section of the pedestrian walkway to go, which it then inserts into the signal pattern. Technicians also install something called a conflict monitor. The conflict monitor is a device in which they program all the potential patterns of lights that would lead to a collision. If the other systems mistakenly trigger those patterns, the conflict monitor sends the intersection into flash, causing all lights to flash red and directing drivers to treat it like an all-way stop. City traffic technicians implement and maintain these systems so effectively, we rarely consider them. But every time we safely pass through a signal-controlled intersection, it's all thanks to their work. So the next time you're waiting at a red light, remember the delicate coordination of super smart systems that move you through that space safely and efficiently every day.
I really love living in our historic downtown. I walk my dog around. The shops take her for, they do pub cups at Poppy's, so you can get ice cream with a little dog biscuit in it, which is her favorite thing in the world. My neighbors, we have block parties together. I really like how welcoming and how vibrant it is. It's an amazing place to live. Lease Summit's a really great community. I love living here, and I just wanted to try to find a way to give back, look out for my neighbors, for the community. I've always tried to be involved. Before serving on city council, I used to volunteer with AFS, which is an organization that hosts foreign exchange students. So my husband and I have hosted kids from around the world and then also volunteered with local families and schools. In my professional life, I'm a paralegal, and then in my personal life, I enjoy reading, sewing. I'm a quilter, so I just finished a log cabin quilt that I'm going to send to my aunt out in DC. I can't claim any of our council accomplishments for myself. This is always a team effort. But I am really excited about the farmers market and event space that we have coming in. It's still in the design phases, but I think it's going to be a really beautiful space, and it's going to really continue keeping our downtown thriving. It's been in progress for a long time, but I think that people are going to really love it when it's done. I think one of my top priorities is going to be attainable housing that, for example, I've been trying to find a place for my mom in Lease Summit. And it's really challenging finding something that really works for a retiree who doesn't have a huge budget. Just trying to make it more attainable for people no matter where they're at in their lives to be a part of our community. Community is what we make it. Everybody should get involved in whatever way they can, whether that's just voting or whether it's joining a board or a commission or even running for office. What they say, the world is run by those who show up. So get involved however you can and make a difference in the community.
Okay, welcome everyone. Would you please rise for the invocation and stay standing for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Heavenly Father, thank you for the beautiful day and sunshine to brighten our day today. We ask that you guide our discussions this evening and help us to always have the community that we serve in mind when weighing each decision. Lord, we know that we are not perfect and will make mistakes from time to time, but let the community know that we do our best and what we are given and strive to make the best decisions with the information provided. Let no one forget that this platform is not about self-gain or anything else other than serving our community with integrity and honesty. Let us to have a great evening with healthy discussion and to always remember that we serve for a greater purpose. In your name we pray. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Perfect. If you make mistakes, speak for yourself. I rolled back. Okay, again, welcome everyone. I'm calling to order the City of Lease Summit regular session number 59. Could I get a roll call, please?
Councilmember Shields.
Here.
Councilmember Carlisle.
Present.
Councilmember Hodges.
Here.
Councilmember Lovell.
Here.
Councilmember Rader.
Present.
Councilmember Funk.
Present.
Councilmember Pryor.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Lopez.
Here.
Mayor Baird.
Here. All right, first item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Could I get a motion? I have a motion from Councilmember Shields to adopt the agenda with a second by Councilmember Hodges. Discussion? Seeing none, please cast your vote.
I am an aye.
Thank you. All votes are in. Please record the vote. Motion's adopted unanimously. Thank you. Next is the approval of the consent agenda. I have a motion to adopt the consent agenda by Councilmember Funk, seconded by Councilmember Shields. Discussion? Seeing none, please cast your vote.
Mayor, I'm an aye.
Thank you. All votes are in. Please record the vote. Passes unanimously. Thank you. Next is the council roundtable. Items of general interest, things going on in your community. We're not going to have much to talk about because the Chiefs are not in the playoffs. Yep, it's coming. Okay, I'm not seeing anything, so we will then dive right in to meeting agenda. Public hearings. Agenda item 4A. We're going to close the regular session, open the public hearing in the matter of special use permit renewal for rental and storage facility U-Haul 1650 Southwest Market Street. Steve Lytle is the applicant. Would all those wishing to speak to this matter please rise to be sworn in by the city clerk? All right, does the applicant have a presentation?
Not per se, sir, just if you have any questions, we're looking to renew the special use permit for both 1650 Southwest Market and 1603 Southwest Jefferson.
All right, thank you. We'll listen to the staff application or the staff presentation, and then we'll have questions.
Adair Bright, Senior Planner. I'd like to enter into the record Exhibit A, list of exhibits 1 through 18.
Please enter into the record Exhibit A 1 through 18.
The applicant is requesting approval of an SUP renewal for continued operation of RV and equipment rental, truck sales, and leases in the mini warehouse facility at 1650 Southwest Market Street for 10 years. The approved PDP showed a future building along the southern property line which has not developed, and changes or expansion to the facility are not proposed as part of this application. The property is zoned PI along with all surrounding properties. To the north and west are building or construction contractors. To the south is an automotive repair facility, and to the east is 291 Highway. The subject property supports both the future land use map and the resilient economy focus area by allowing for continued operation of a range of uses that support the community's needs. The existing structures total about 23,850 square feet, and the site has 18 customer parking stalls, which was approved with the PDP in 2003. As part of the SUP renewal, staff performed a site inspection and noticed a few maintenance items that needed to be addressed. The applicant has resolved all the maintenance concerns, and staff has added a condition of approval concerning when the parking lot and driveway access would need to be repaired. A neighborhood meeting was held on August 28th, and 0 members of the public attended. Staff has carried over the conditions associated with the previous SUP approvals, and the applicant requested a 10-year approval. However, to cover the time that has elapsed since the initial approvals, staff recommends approving the SUP as shown in condition number 1. And with the conditions of approval shown here, the application meets the requirements of the UDO and the goals of the Ignite Comprehensive Plan, and I'm here for any questions that you may have.
All right, thank you. Questions for staff or the applicant? Councilmember Shields.
So the 19 years and change is just because it was already an expired one, so that like backdates it to the old one? Okay. That was all the clarification I was looking for. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, is there anyone here that wishes to speak in favor or against the application? Please come forward. All right, any additional questions from council? Does the applicant care to make any further comment? Okay. All right, thank you. Hearing no further testimony, I'm closing the public hearing and reopening the regular session. Is there any council discussion on this application? Councilmember Pryor.
Thank you, Mayor. So I just notice every time I drive by just this entire industrial area right there, it just doesn't look good. A lot of the businesses are ran down. There's not hardly any landscaping. And with all the development that we have going on along that corridor right now, is there ever anything like with an SUP or anything like that? Is there ever any time that we could request additional landscaping or, I don't know, try to beautify the area a little bit?
Okay. I'm going to turn to staff, Mr. Dunning, whoever you want to answer that question.
The ability to request those SUP renewals lends itself to those kinds of considerations. So that's appropriate to have discussion on that.
We can, Ms. Bright, would you pull up the pictures of the location, and then we'll decide if we want to open up public hearing to discuss this.
Does this one work? I do want like a street view.
Oh, are you asking me?
Or whomever.
What is, I mean, I don't want to single out.
In the actual packet?
Yeah. Yeah, this is more of just like a general question about the area. I don't want to single out one specific business because it's not just this business right here.
Okay.
But it's just, I mean, if this is where we start with landscaping, then I guess this is where we start. But just this area in general, is there anything?
Mr. Dunning?
Yeah, so hearing that, right, it's appropriate to discuss for this site, to discuss the general area, probably not the venue to do that. You know, there can be requests made and voluntary compliance, but unless somebody's coming forward with a preliminary development plan, public hearing, or a development application, or some request of the city, it'd be tough for us to go out and just say, hey, we'd really like to see something changed around here.
Maybe I can help a little bit. Mr. Dunning, you've done, the city have done overlays before. Not really in my tenure, but I know we've done them before.
That's correct.
So what would that entail or look like? Mr. Elam's coming this way. He might want to help out.
Sure.
Good evening, Ryan Elam, Assistant City Manager. So an overlay district that is initiated by the city is a possibility to put new requirements on different areas that are all kind of within, they all have to be in alignment with our code. Currently, this area doesn't have an overlay on it, and so since we are in the public hearing associated with this specific property, as Mr. Dunning stated, it would be really related just to this property. But if there was a conversation that wanted to occur about a larger area, I think it would probably be best if we had a conversation about defining those areas and possibly looking at different overlay districts. One of the things that we do have coming up as part of our beautification efforts is a relook at all of our landscaping standards, and that may be a great time to kind of tackle this same type of issue that we're talking about. But currently our code doesn't really have a mechanism in it, I would say, to put new requirements on existing property like that.
Okay, that was helpful. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, other questions? Or comments? I did close the public hearing, did I not? Yes. So any comments before I call for a vote on this? Okay. Seeing no further questions or comments, Councilmember Funk, would you please read Bill number 26-001?
Thank you, Mayor. I advance to second reading Bill number 26-001, an ordinance granting a special use permit for recreational vehicle rental, equipment rental, truck sales, and lease at mini warehouse facility in District PI, planned industrial on land located at 1650 Southwest Market Street for a period of 19 years and 25 days, all in accordance with Article 6 of the Unified Development Ordinance for the City of Lease Summit, Missouri.
Thank you. I have a motion to move to second reading, Bill number 26-001 by Councilmember Fong, seconded by Councilmember Hodges. Discussion? Seeing none, please cast your vote. All votes are in. Please record the vote. Passes 9-0. Goes to second reading. And that takes us to agenda item 4B, which is another special use permit. I'm going to close the regular session, open the public hearing in the matter of special use permit renewal for mini storage, Jefferson Street Storage, 1603 Southwest Jefferson Street. Steve Lytle is the applicant. Would all those wishing to speak to this matter please rise to be sworn in by the city clerk?
You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Mr. Is it Lytle or Lytle?
Lytle.
Lytle. Mr. Lytle, do you want to make any other comments or present?
Nothing in particular, except it's same operation split between two street addresses, one over on Jefferson, obviously, and one on Market Street.
Okay.
We manage both places out of the Market Street.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Bright?
Adair Bright, Senior Planner. I'd like to enter into the record Exhibit A, list of Exhibits 1 through 17.
Please enter into the record Exhibit A, 1 through 17.
The applicant is requesting approval of an SUP renewal for continued operation of a mini warehouse facility at 1603 Southwest Jefferson Street for 10 years. The approved PDP did show an additional building along the northern property line, however, that has not developed and is not proposed to change at this time. The property is zoned PI, along with surrounding properties with the exception of the one just to the west. The properties to the north and east are either building or construction contractors. To the south includes a few different properties and uses, which include building or construction contractor, car wash, and a sporting goods store. To the west, across Northwest Jefferson Street, is the Summit Christian Academy, which is zoned both R1 and PI. The subject property supports both the future land use map and the resilient economy focus area by allowing for continued operation of the use. The existing structures total about 19,000 square feet, and the site has 2 customer parking stalls, which were approved with the PDP in 2005. As part of the SUP renewal, staff performed a site inspection and noticed a few maintenance items that had needed to be addressed. The applicant has resolved all concerns, and staff has added a condition of approval to address the parking lot and driveway access. A neighborhood meeting was held on August 28th, and 0 members of the public attended. The applicant has requested a 10-year approval. However, to cover the time that has elapsed, staff recommends approving the SUP as shown and with condition 1. And with the conditions of approval shown here, the application meets the requirements of the UDO and the Ignite Comprehensive Plan, and I am here for any questions that you may have.
All right, thank you. Any questions for staff or applicant? Okay, is there anyone here that wishes to speak in favor or against the application? Please come forward. Any additional questions from the council? Does the applicant care to make any further comment? Thank you. Hearing no further testimony, I'm closing the public hearing and reopening the regular session. Is there any council discussion on this application? Seeing no further questions or comments, Councilmember Lovell, would you please read Bill number 26-002?
Thank you, Mayor. I move to advance the second reading, Bill number 26-002, an ordinance granting a special use permit for a mini warehouse facility in District Planned Industrial on land located at 1603 Southwest Jefferson Street for a period of 10 years, 2 months, and 26 days, all in accordance with Article 6 of the Unified Development Ordinance for the City of Lee Summit, Missouri.
Thank you. We have a motion to move to second reading, Bill number 26-002 by Councilmember Lovell, seconded by Councilmember Hodges. Discussion? Seeing none, please cast your vote. All votes are in. Please record the vote. It does move to second reading unanimously, so it'll be second read next week. Thank you for reinvesting in Lee Summit. All right, next we have another public hearing, so I'm closing the regular session. Open the public hearing in the matter of Agenda Item 4C, Preliminary Development Plan, Dutch Brothers, 10 Southwest Persels Road. Engineering Solutions, LLC is the applicant. Would all those wishing to speak to this matter please rise to be sworn in by the city clerk? Mr. Schlicht.
Good evening, Matt Slish, Engineering Solutions, 50 Southeast 30th Street, Lee Summit, Missouri. Find the right one here. So with me this evening, I have some members from Drake, if I can't answer any questions that he may have, but generally speaking, we're back on the west side of 291 in the Oldham Village development. So in the Oldham Village development, when we originally got this approved, this was lot 18, sitting kind of on the south side, northwest corner of Persels Road 291. We had a C-store shown down on that lot. It was a rather large lot, and we were still working on the orientation of the C-store at the time, kind of knowing we would adjust and figure out how this made sense as time came through. So the plan is to keep the C-store on what will be lot 18A, and then 19 will become a Dutch Bros on that corner of the development. Existing conditions down in that corner, which is much different today. Today it's a big flattened area ready for development. Previously that was the liquor store, the bartending school, the car wash, a number of things down kind of on that corner. But everything, as we said today, is kind of taken down. Kind of just an update on development of where everything's kind of going out there. There's many things moving, lots of things that are getting done. The area on the red on the north end, which is lots 5 and 8, both of the Q39 and the Chick-fil-A are getting very close. Chick-fil-A will sooner than, I guess, a month or so probably out. We'll get to have some open doors on that side. The yellow sides, then there are approved final development plans, or at least applied for final development plans. So you have a number of restaurants, a tunnel car wash, the apartment building on that side, and then the Casey's has been applied for. And then one of the preliminary development plans we're working on now is up there on lot 1 for the Summit Park Church, as kind of continues through. So just kind of an update of where the project is going. Oldham, the signals, things have started opening back up, so the roadways, Jefferson's starting to become more accessible. During the original plan of development, we had Casey's or a C-store kind of shown down on that corner, oriented facing more easterly. out towards 291 with the access off of Persels, and then direct access to the north off of the private drive we created. As we went through and developed Oldham Village, we had in our traffic study kind of an overall plan, basically creating a number of trips based on the uses, the sizes of the buildings, and the ideas of kind of how this would get developed. So I show this as kind of this became our roadmap of how the overall 18-lot development would go. So as lots would, buildings may grow in size or shrink in size, this kind of kept track of the overall traffic demands to show that the improvements that we've done out there or planning to do out there are well within what was planned. So what we're proposing now is, again, on the southerly side, Casey's has now rotated to the south, and on the back side of it, or the north end of it, Dutch Bros is wanting to sit off of the new private drive that we've created off of Jefferson. So as part of the development on that side, the project of Dutch Bros will have full access off of Jefferson, so you'll be able to go in any direction off of that side of it. You'll have a new dedicated westbound right turn that will take you into the Casey site and into the Dutch Bros site. And then if you'll recall, there are a number of improvements that are with the Oldham Village that will be coming. So the new meeting will be getting under construction here in the next few months. Another additional eastbound left turn and a dedicated eastbound right turn out of there. So it'll help to alleviate some of that traffic concerns that happen when Abundant Life is letting out or the Summit Christian Academy is letting out down that side. So as we start to look specifically at the Dutch Bros, the project has 13 cars stacking on the double drive-through. With the hatched-in area, it's expandable up to 19 cars. All of that just to say the code requires 9 spaces, so we've more than almost doubled, I guess, the stackability area for the drive-through. On-site parking spaces, 5 are required. So between the 2 parking areas, we have 23 on-site parking spaces available. Again, in an opinion to basically take care of anything may happen between the 2 uses on that side. So then we go back to the trip generation. So we start to talk through some of the spaces. So what I've done and shown over here on this side is restaurant sites. We had 17,000 total square foot. We're at about 20,000 square foot. But if you look at fast foods, we had darn near 8,000 and we're down to 6. Tunnel car wash is the same. The apartment came down actually from 307 to 300. The coffee shop was proposed at 3,000 square feet. We're at 1,356. All of that to say essentially currently we're sitting at a reduced amount of traffic demand on what we kind of anticipated as the project went on. And the idea, I think, as we kind of come through and continue to talk about the project is just keeping scope and vision on this to show that what we planned, what the development was always thought to be, is staying in line with what the project is becoming. So Dutch Bros, you have one on Chipman, very similar in layout, style, and pieces of it. Exact architectural style, the same signs, I think, on Chipman. I think we're asking for 1 additional sign over what they had on the Chipman Road side just because of the visibility on 3 different fronts on this project. We did hold a neighborhood meeting. We had 1 attendee, and the conversation was more on the overall project, I would say, more on the general ideas of what Oldham Village was doing, what East Village was doing, conversations of the median on Persels and some of those things. So we kind of went through the dialogue and just kind of the background on that side. Our neighborhood attendee is here tonight, so I'm sure she'll be able to speak to answer any of her questions she may have, but I think we kind of just generally went through the overall project on that side. So with that, we're here for any questions you have.
All right, thank you. We'll do staff's application or presentation.
The original Lot 18 site that houses the future and previously approved Casey's. The inset map here kind of illustrates a little bit that Mr. Schlisch had already shown that the previously approved plan had a different orientation for the Casey site and had a significant amount of what we'll call just underutilized real estate, particularly to the north and on the west side of the existing building. And by turning the site essentially 90 degrees, they were able to free up and reorient, sorry about that, the open area to the north side so as to facilitate more of an east-west orientation for the new for the proposed Dutch Brothers facility. So in doing so, and meaning in removing just short of 1 acre of the Casey site It is not negatively impacting the ability for Casey's to meet all required setbacks. They're still able to meet all the required parking requirements, like I said, setbacks, and doesn't in any way hinder the continued ability to develop the Casey site to the south. So that's how much open area there was, and that both developments are able to come before you without need for any modification. The only condition here that I just wanted to point out is that the elevation that you showed, or that was in your packet, showed a total of 5 wall signs. The existing Dutch Bros on Chipman has 3 wall signs. Staff's recommendation is to allow a total of 4 wall signs with the condition that no more than 2 be placed on any one particular facade. So how they choose to place them on the building, where, that's up to them. Our recommendation is just that no more than 2 be allowed on any one elevation. As you can see here on the drawing, there are a couple elevations where they do have the 2, the copy, the Dutch Bros copy, and the logo. So again, we're not opposed to having 2, but on any one elevation, but just no more than 2. So with that, staff's recommendation is for approval subject to conditions 1 through 3. And one thing I will point out is that condition number 2 is just, it's kind of a belt and suspenders approach in that we're just stating that the development of this site will still be under the continued obligations of the Oldham Village Phase 2 development. So with that, I'll yield to any questions you may have.
Okay, questions for staff or applicant? Is this on the drive-through, do they just order at the building and then also receive at the building? I mean, obviously they receive at the building, but.
It's my understanding that their operation is such that you would order before, yeah.
Is that right, Mr. Schlicht?
Correct, yeah, it's a standard drive-through, so somewhere in that 128 feet out range is where we think that speaker will be.
That's what I'm talking
order
about.
from there and then
Speaker.
order.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, other questions for staff or the applicant? Okay, seeing none, is there anyone that wishes to speak in favor or against the application? Please come forward.
Debbie Giddings. First of all, let me say, I'm not against Dutch Brothers moving in here. The thing I'm against is that they're saying they're just moving the coffee shop. Well, they're not just moving the coffee shop, they're moving the traffic. And they're showing this nice little thing showing you they're reducing the parking spaces by the traffic by 1,000 trips. Well, that's fine, except those trips from the coffee shop that they had generated up north are now going to come south. And the problem with that is that I think you had requested and talked about that what about happens with stacking? And the fact that you already have sliders in that area. I was here when you talked about sliders and the implications of it coming out onto the roadway. Well, this may come out onto the roadway too, except that it's a private drive. So the city really doesn't have any control over that private drive. But the people at Casey's might not like that. The other thing is that with that private drive, who does the maintenance when it starts falling apart or it needs to be plowed? The technicality of it meeting the requirements for traffic is questionable. The other issue is that we continue to let developers come through and make exceptions to the rules, which is what it's doing here because they're going to add signs and pavement markings to alleviate the issues with what was recommended by staff. You didn't hear any of those recommendations tonight. There were recommendations that they would have signs, they would have pavements. Maybe that's in the conditions that were told at the end of the meeting notice from the staff compliant with da-da-da-da-da. But it wasn't implicitly stated about the markings and the signs, which I think would be of importance for you to know. The other issue, of course, will come up with the fact that this is going to impact Bailey Road as well as Purcell Road. I spoke last time about the impact to Southwest Market. You can't get to the post office, you can't get to the vet, you can't do physical therapy. There's a lot of business down there that you're going to have to do the loop-de-loop on a 291 that's already busy, or a Jefferson. It's just going to add more confusion and more difficulty to getting to a business that had not had any problems up until this development is requesting all of this traffic. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Ms. Bright, you want to talk about the maintenance of the road? That was a question that was, Mr. Soto, I'm sorry, Mr. Soto is doing this presentation.
So that private drive will be common improvement. We'll say like a drive similar to, let's say, a detention basin, something like that. We put them in common area tracks, and as part of the platting process, we put a condition on there that they're going to comply with the UDO requirements, that those common area tracks are placed under the continued maintenance and ownership responsibilities of a property owners association or homeowner association in the case of a residential development. So that already has language built in that will identify the entity that's going to own and maintain it, and has provisions in the UDO to address those things. And that's in addition to existing property maintenance code requirements that the city goes out and enforces through neighborhood services, that improved surfaces like a driveway or parking lot has to maintain a certain standard. Otherwise, there'll be citations that staff would work with the property owner to address.
Okay, thank you. And then on the signage, I didn't see any variances on signage. I didn't see any recommendations from planning, so are we in compliance on the signage?
That was the planning commission had no issue. And the one, I believe, well, there may be a couple signs that she may be referring to. It's not clear to me if she's referring to the wall signage, which was condition number 3. I know the staff report, we did mention that there may be a little bit of concern that there's a potential, not that we necessarily envision it, but there's always the potential that there could be, that on a really unusually heavy traffic day, that there is a potential here where some of this could back up and cause some interference with the circulation here. So it was mentioned in the staff report that during the final development plan stage, we would work with the developer to put some signage and maybe some pavement striping just to indicate that this intersection point is not to be blocked.
Okay, that's good. Okay, very good. Other questions for staff or the applicant? All right. Does the applicant care to make any further comment? No, thank you. Thank you. Hearing no further testimony, I'm closing the public hearing and reopening the regular session. Is there any council discussion on this application? All right, seeing none. Councilmember Shields, would you please read bill number 26-003?
Thank you, Mayor. I move for second reading bill number 26-003, an ordinance approving a preliminary development plan for Oldham Village, Lot 18 in Tract E on approximately 2.99 acres of land generally located at the northwest intersection of Southwest Persels Road and South M291 Highway, all in accordance with the provisions of Chapter 33 of the Unified Development Ordinance of the Code of Ordinances for the City of Lease, Missouri.
Thank you. We have a motion to move to second reading bill number 26-003 by Councilmember Shields, seconded by Councilmember Hodges. Discussion? Yes, Councilmember Lovell.
Mayor, I'll just be recusing myself from this due to conflict.
All right, thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please cast your vote. All votes are in. Please record the vote. Passes 8 with 1 recusal to 0. And that would take us to the next public hearing. So we are on agenda item 4D. This is a preliminary, we're going to close the regular session, open the public hearing in the matter of preliminary development plan, Les Schwab Tire Center, 740 Northwest Ward Road, SFP-E LLC is applicant. Would all those wishing to speak to this matter please rise to be sworn in by the city clerk?
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
All right.
Thank you. Not that one. Gotcha. It's right there. Gotcha. Thank you. Oh, full screen. Oh, full screen. Yeah.
Here's the way I do it. I just do Control, I'm looking for Control L.
Thanks, Mark. All right, thank you. Dan McGee with Lamp Rynearson. We're presenting on behalf of Les Schwab, 9001 State Line Road, Suite 200, Kansas City, Missouri. We're here for the proposed preliminary development plan for the Les Schwab Tire Center. This is located, there's 3 existing lots within this development. There's Andy's Frozen Custard to the southwest. There's a Valvoline that's proposed to the southeast that was approved last year. And the site is highlighted in blue here that we're speaking of tonight. So the request is approval of a revised preliminary development plan for this lot for the Tire Center. Les Schwab is over 70 years old. They're founded in Bend, Oregon, and have more than 600 stores in 13 states. They've been doing an expansion upper Midwest the last couple years, and now they're working their way south in the Midwest, working in Nebraska, Iowa, Kansas, and Missouri. They've got over 8,900 employees and promote from within. So with this, they go through rotations at their store where each employee basically works every position for 2 years to work their way up to store manager. They also share over half their profits with the employees through healthcare bonuses and retirement. Core services is basically tire-related services that are performed within 2 hours or less. Of course, you got tires, some oil changes, alignments, brakes, and then also hours. They're 8 to 6, Monday through Friday, and 8 to 5 on Saturdays. They also invest in the local communities, which are located. So they've done over $10 million in 2024. They support toy, food, and school supply drives, and also donate tires to nonprofit organizations. So here's a little bit more detail on the proposed development plan. So this proposed site is on the north side. Trilogy Apartments is due north of this. Summit Technologies to the northwest. Cooper's Hawk and Aldi are to the east. Pedestrian connectivity is provided on the east side of the site. So that's where the showroom is oriented. So any customers that come in can come into that side of the building. The west end of the building is more the back of house, heavy equipment. Also, we have the trash enclosures proposed at the northwest corner of the site. We do have some enhanced landscaping that's proposed on the west side to help soften that side of the building as well. And I would note the original plan had vehicle connectivity to the apartments to the north through this site. There were concerns on Les Schwab side as far as having vehicles on that side of the building with all the heavy equipment, if they're unloading tires from a truck and, forklifts, things like that. Obviously, that doesn't work well with vehicles. So therefore, coordinating with staff, it was proposed to provide a sidewalk to provide some connectivity so any tenants up there in the apartment complex could use the sidewalk and continue south if they want to go to Andy's or similar. Here's a few perspective views of the proposed projects. So the northwest view, this would be if you're at Summit Technology Campus, kind of look in this direction. And southeast, this is the primary entrance. This is from Ward Road. Lots of fenestration and architecture there, looking at the building. Here's elevations, kind of showing all four sides. Four-sided architecture is provided. And then we are also meeting the current, the latest architectural design criteria with the class 1 through 3 materials. So here's a few pictures showing that in the proposed materials. We do have 2 UDO modification requests with this application. So the code calls for 50% clear glass on any facade that's facing a public or private street within a pedestrian view zone. So by introducing that sidewalk on the west side, that created a pedestrian view zone. As noted, that's where the heavy equipment's located. There's safety concerns. If we put a bunch of glass on that side of the building, it could be broken with the equipment. And plus, it's not a customer entrance. That's focused on the east side. The east side of the building meets all the code requirements for fenestration. And then the second UDO modification request is for light pole height. There is a code restriction on the height of poles within 100 feet of a residential use or zoning. Limits it to 15 feet. 18 feet is the development standard. The Trilogy apartments to the north installed 20-foot tall poles themselves. So instead of going from 20 to 15 to 18, just in a small distance, we're proposing just to go with 18. We would make sure that the maximum foot candles at the property line meet the UDO requirements, so there's no spillover light to the residential project to the north. And with that, we turn it over to Adair.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Adair Bright, Senior Planner. I'd like to enter into the record Exhibit A, list of exhibits 1 through 17.
Please enter into the record Exhibit A, 1 through 17.
The applicant is requesting approval of a preliminary development plan for development of a Les Schwab Tire Center at 740 Northwest Ward Road. There are 2 modifications being requested, and staff analysis will be provided later in the presentation. The property is currently zoned PMIX, which was established in 1999, and that PMIX zoning means that the allowed land use is dependent upon the proposed and approved plan, along with other site standards such as setbacks, density, height, etc. The property to the north contains the Trilogy apartments, and to the south includes Andes and a recently approved Valvoline oil change. To the west across Northwest Outerview Road is the Summit Technology Campus, and to the east across Northwest Ward Road are commercial pad sites. The proposed land use is compatible with the commercial uses and the higher intensity residential use. The future land use map designates the subject property as being within the Summit Activity Center, which includes a range of commercial, industrial, and residential options. The center is intended to develop as walkable mixed-use nodes. The proposed development does not substantially conflict with the Activity Center designation, so staff is in support of the request. The PDP that was previously approved in 2022 for Summit Orchards West included the subject property as retail, restaurant, or commercial, and the PDP before you this evening is required because the proposed architecture is substantially different than what was proposed and approved in 2022. The building will be 8,600 square feet, and there are 50 proposed parking stalls, 6 of which will be the bays themselves. There is a proposed sidewalk along the western edge of the property, which will connect to the existing stub from the Trilogy apartments and provide pedestrian connectivity. A neighborhood meeting was held on November 5th, and 0 members of the public were in attendance. The elevations were reviewed under the recently adopted architecture and building design requirements. The UDO requires that primary facades, which are those facing public or private streets, contain 3 different Class 1 or 2 building materials comprising at least half of said facade. The secondary facades are required to contain 3 different Class 1, 2, or 3 materials, and there are also requirements for building and roof articulations along with covered entries. All material and articulation requirements are being met by the proposed building. And although the design is substantially different than what was approved with the 2022 PDP, the building is compatible with the surrounding commercial developments of Andes and the recently approved Valvoline. The applicant is requesting approval of a modification to allow the western facade to contain 0% glass within the pedestrian view zone. The pedestrian view zone is defined as the 8-foot tall area that is between 2 and 10 feet above the adjacent sidewalk or ground level. The intent behind this code requirement is to create a storefront and have the design of the building be geared towards pedestrians, and staff is supportive of the request because the storefront on the subject building is actually on that southeast corner, which is where customers will be entering the facility, and the applicant has provided an ample amount of clear glass in that area to signify that that is the public entrance for pedestrians. The applicant is also requesting a modification to allow the parking lot light poles to be 18 feet tall. The UDO limits light fixtures to 15 feet tall when within 100 feet of a residential use and/or district. Staff is supportive of the request because the intent is to reduce the amount of spillover onto adjacent properties, especially when they are residential in nature. However, the adjacent residential use is a four-story tall apartment complex whose light poles are 20 feet tall, and the height increase is not expected to negatively impact the residents. With the conditions of approval shown here, the application meets the requirements of the UDO and the goals of the Ignite Comprehensive Plan, and I am here for any questions that you may have.
All right, thank you. Questions for the applicant or staff? Councilmember Rader.
Thank you, Mayor. I just have a question for the applicant, if I may. You mentioned that the jobs, which is I'm of interest in. So how many people will be working at this location?
Typically, there's about 12 to 15 employees per store.
And what's your average pay at these locations?
I do not know the answer to that question.
Okay, but you said there's management positions.
Correct.
And so you probably don't have much of a turnover.
Correct. They like to hire from within, so that has actually limited the growth of Les Schwab as they expand into the area. So they do look ahead years and determine where they can open, when they can open based on growing from within. We have passed along some information too on training programs like Summit Technology as they look to staff stores. There's there's multiple locations that are proposed within the region.
Okay.
So as they
Very good. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you. Other questions for the staff or applicant? Okay, is there anyone that wishes to speak in favor or in opposition to the application? Please come forward. Are there any additional questions from the council? Councilmember Hodges.
Thank you. No questions. I was just going to explain why I will be a no on this. So,
let me close the public hearing.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Does applicant care to make any further comment? Okay. Hearing no further testimony, I'll close the public hearing and reopen the regular session. Is there any council discussion on this application? Councilmember Hodges.
Thank you. So I will be a no on this because previously, I know right next to it was going to be a Valvoline, and I did vote no on that as well. So just for the same reason is that I don't feel like this fits in that area. Having a Cooper's Hawk right there, then having car places right there, I don't feel like it keeps up with the class. I mean, nothing against this business personally, but I just feel like there's other spots in Lease Summit that would be better suited for this. Just, I think we need to keep a theme of more upscale over there. So I will be a no. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Pryor.
Thank you, Mayor. I also wanted to elaborate on why I will be a no. I actually looked up reviews. Do you have any locations here? I guess, can I ask that right now?
I don't know. Yeah, you can ask if they have locations here.
They are currently in design or planned.
Could you speak into the microphone, please?
Yes, they are currently in design. They plan to open stores in 2028 in the region.
Okay, I looked up the reviews in Colorado Springs, and you guys had great reviews throughout your stores in Colorado Springs. But I just don't feel like this is the correct location for a tire center right next to, I know that I had, back when we were looking at the Valvoline, I had several people reach out to me that didn't necessarily want the Valvoline right next to Cooper's Hawk. So I kind of feel the same about this tire center. But I do appreciate the reputation you have in the other cities. I just don't feel like this is the best location. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Rader.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm I'm very happy about the fact that we would be bringing more jobs here to Lease Summit, but I wasn't for the Valvoline being in that area. I didn't think that it was a good fit, and I still don't think the tire store is a good fit there as well. I would very much like it if you would relocate into a different into another location that would be a little bit more applicable to that. I mean, it is a nice restaurant area, and would like to keep it that way. Thank you. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Okay, seeing no further questions or comments. Councilmember Hodges, would you please read Bill number 26-004?
I advance to second reading Bill number 26-004, an ordinance approving a preliminary development plan for land located at 740 Northwest Ward Road for Les Schwab Tire Center, all in accordance with the provisions of Chapter 33, the Unified Development Ordinance of the Code of Ordinances for the City of Lease Summit, Missouri.
Thank you. We have a motion to move to second reading Bill number 26-004 by Councilmember Hodges, seconded by Councilmember Carlisle. Discussion? Seeing none, please cast your vote. All votes are in. Please record the vote. Passes 6-3, and we'll go to second reading next week. So thank you for investing in Lease Summit. Okay, we're going to go to another public hearing. Where are we? Agenda item 4E. This is we're going to close the regular session, open the public hearing in the matter of rezoning from PL to PMIX and a preliminary development plan, East Village Phase 2, approximately 50 acres, generally located at the southeast corner of South 291 Highway and Southeast Bailey Road. East Village Investors, LLC is the applicant. Would all those wishing to speak to this matter please rise to be sworn in by the city clerk.
Ready?
Yes, Mr. Schlicht.
All right, Matt Schlicht, Engineering Solutions, 50 Southeast 30th Street, Lease Summit, Missouri. The Drake team is with me, so any questions I can't answer, they're here to go. So now we're on the east side of 291, south of Bailey, so southeast corner of 291 and Bailey. During the Phase 1 presentation, this is the area that we had hatched out as kind of coming to you. So this is 9 mixed-use lots on the southerly side that have sit-down restaurants, office retail or retail type spaces, drive-throughs, apartments, townhomes, and more recreational spaces. Again, this will have road improvements to 291, road improvements to Bailey. This will add road improvements to 16th Street, sanitary sewer improvements to the overall sanitary sewer system on that side, storm sewer improvements, water improvements, and extension of the off-site or the shared use trail system. The site is generally, or is shown in the Ignite Master Plan as mixed use. Primarily, it is shown as a industrial with a little piece that got PMIX. Our proposal is to rezone the entire parcel to be PMIX for the development. If we're sitting down at 16th Street looking to the northeast around 291, it's that entrance to 16th Street. If you come up on the south side, so we're in the development to the south in that residential area looking to the north, this would be up on the Bailey Road Bridge looking kind of to the left or to the southwest side of it from a project perspective. Then remembering the orange stuff is what Phase 1, now we're on the south side of Bailey, which has a mixture of uses of primarily the retail, restaurant, drive-through spaces with the green space up on the front side of it, an apartment building, and then the townhomes as we continue to the east. One monument sign located at the northwest corner, which would be the southeast corner of Bailey and 291. Same type of typical sections or typical buildings that we're showing right now for the retail type business spaces that'll be down there. So all of the lots that are kind of on that westerly side of the site, all going around the recreational kind of open green space for that area. Again, a mixture of uses and similar style to what we had on Oldham Village or what we've shown on the north end that'll continue to get developed as the project progresses and users are identified. Another option of a building material look style that would be down in that area, similar again to what we had in Oldham Village and on the east side. The apartment building then is 220 units sitting on the east side of what would be the new signalized intersection at Bailey Road and the north-south road. So on the westerly side is 291. This would be the signalized intersection that would create the new thoroughfare to get through to 16th Street to make connectivity for the overall project. The townhomes then are on the easterly side of the site. 100 units are shown, again, around a green space, and then the community space that'll have the pool and activity space. There'll be a pond on this side of it with a recreational walking trail that kind of goes around and continues the overall site. This is the walking trail that we've kind of talked about on the north side that's continued on the south side. 10-foot trails on both sides of the main roadways, connectivity of walkways entirely throughout the entire project, and then a new sidewalk on 16th Street that'll start to add some connectivity there, as well as a continuation of the trail system that exists out on Persels and Bailey that'll continue up through the Bailey Road Bridge. Again, all going back to the centrally located community space that we're still kind of programming out, but the idea is that would be an active space that people could come and hang out, have a trail connectivity, have a place to stop, get together. Similar to what is maybe on the northerly side. The northerly side just had some more spaces to allow some activity to get this maybe more of a quieter space. Landscaping side of it, similar to what we've done on the other sides of it. Landscaping, heavily landscaped on both sides of the roadway, landscaped out on all of the Bailey Road and the 291 frontages. Again, this is that same typical section that we showed up on the East Village Phase 1. There'll be two different sections depending on where you are. There'll be 3-lane road sections that don't have the median, heavily landscaped on either side of it with the 10-foot trails on both sides of the roadway. And then there are areas in there that'll have the landscaped median that'll divide the roadway through the development with, again, landscaping on both sides with the 10-foot sidewalks on both sides of the roadway. Phasing plan of the project, so as we kind of talked about, Costco's Phase 1, Phase 2 then becomes the red, Phase 3, this is Bailey, that would be everything south of Bailey would be kind of our, this project, the entire project would get developed likely at one time, or at least for sure, all of the road network, utility, and pieces on the westerly side that the townhomes may follow in. As we start to talk about roadway improvements, we've talked about some of the roadway improvements that are on the north side, being the southbound left, the new signal. Again, as we start to come down, then there's a continuation of a through lane that goes all the way down to the south. We have a new southbound left, additional left turns, right turns out on Bailey. There is that continuation or development of that median with the 3/4 turn so that a southbound cannot make a left out, but you can turn westbound right in, southbound right out, and then also you can come eastbound and turn onto that side of it. And then creating a new signal at the intersection, essentially just short of where the bridge kind of ends right now, that would enter into the facility for Phase 1 as well as the stuff to the south. And again, 16th Street improvements, so down there right now it is an unimproved road, very limited as far as grading, road widths. It would be curb, gutter, sidewalk, storm sewer improvements, water line improvements, sanitary sewer extensions up through that area. So we believe that as we've had a number of neighborhood meetings, some of those businesses have been on that area that will be most effective, I think, are very eager to see some of those improvements come into that area. So as we start to talk about some of those improvements, Thompson is down here on the bottom part of the picture, 291 is to the west. There'll be a new sanitary sewer main that will be brought all the way to the north up to 16th Street and then into the project, providing sanitary sewer for a number of the businesses that sit on 16th Street. Again, then 16th Street, this is the visual of kind of what it looks like out there now. It'll be created into a complete roadway section with curbs and gutters and the storm sewers and a much improved system of what is there today. We do have a modification request similar to what we've had on Oldham Village. We also had it on Phase 1, is the 20-foot setback on the highway right-of-way due to the amount of space between the existing roadway and the right-of-way. There's excess space in that area, so the request is to maintain the same amount of landscaping that's required, but just reduce that setback from 20 to 10 feet. Again, it's just allowing some site changes on that side, but again, it's the same request that we did on the west side as well as East Village Phase 1. So we did hold a neighborhood meeting, and then a lot of the questions were more just, like we've talked about, is this project going to happen? Well, where does this go and what's coming? And so it's similar to a lot of the conversations we had on the Phase 1 discussion, what happens to some of the buildings, how soon does it go, is this one going to be real? Overall, I think we left with a pretty reasonable understanding that I think that most people were excited to hope that this project would stick and get something going. So with that, we are here with any questions you have.
Okay, thank you. Can we get the staff's presentation?
Hector Soto Jr., Senior Planner. I'd like to enter into the record Exhibit A list of Exhibits 1 through 23.
Please enter into the record Exhibit A, 1 through 23.
As Mr. Schlisch had touched on already, the focus of this application is what we'll call Phase 2, which is all of the 50 acres that are south of Bailey Road. It's here in this aquamarine cyan color here. In total, we're looking at about 22,000 total square feet of commercial area on 9 lots and the 320 total multifamily dwelling units. As you can see, this application also comes, there's that rezoning piece. There's a couple slivers of property that's already zoned PMIX. The bulk of the property is zoned PI, and with this application, if approved, would rezone all of the area outlined here in Vermilion. It'd be turned into the kind of more of the primrose color to denote PMIX zoning. So the proposed development is consistent with the comprehensive plan that does call for mixed-use development, which would be a continuation of the horizontal mixed use that we see on the opposite side of the highway and with Phase 1 that was reviewed by this body about a month or so ago. So Mr. Schlisch also touched upon the typical building elevations for the multifamily and the commercial are consistent with the type of form, function, and material palette that was used for Phase 1 as well as Oldham Village across the highway to the west. The apartments here on the north side, again, consistent with the first phase apartments. This component here for the apartments on the north would provide a total of 220 apartments, and the townhomes on the south, there would be a total of 100 dwelling units. So similar to what was done with Phase 1, the apartment or the multifamily component of this development is occupies essentially I'll just call it the eastern half of the Phase 2 area of the development. So all of it is closest to the UP Railroad right-of-way, with all of the commercial placed along the higher visibility 291 corridor and Bailey Road component. So here's about the midpoint is the signalized intersection where Mr. Schlisch had mentioned that the bridge starts to go over. So the apartments would be bounded by the UP Railroad on the east, and on the north, essentially by the bridge that starts to elevate from this point. With this application, if approved, there is a condition in here that does make an allowance for the oversized monument sign here at that southernmost point of the 291 frontage. There are, with Phase 1, there were additional 3 that were located at strategic points along the periphery of that. And just to kind of mirror what was done on the Oldham Village across the highway, there were 2 of these similarly sized and designed monument signs for the Oldham Village portion on the west side of 291. So there's going to be consistency in some of the signage program that's provided or constructed as part of this development. The loan modification request is similar to Phase 1 and with Oldham Village, just based on the abundance of right-of-way and green space between the travel lanes on 291 and the boundary of the development. The request is to allow for a minimum 10-foot setback from the public right-of-way versus the 20-foot setback. And in doing so, it won't compromise the ability to provide any of the required landscape, street frontage landscaping requirements along 291 highway. So staff is recommending approval to the project subject to conditions 1 through 6. And I will point out that there is one change since the packet did go out, and has to do with well, like I said, condition number 6, where there are currently some downstream sanitary sewer concerns that this development would be feeding into, and the language that, in concert with between staff and the developer, there was some additional verbiage that is being proposed where, to change condition number 6 to read, no occupancy permit shall be issued for any portion of East Village Phase 2 until the downstream sanitary sewer capacity improvements have been completed, or alternate means to prevent downtown, or alternate means to prevent downstream impact are approved by water utilities. So we don't know what that might be, but we wanted to provide some flexibility for the developer to explore different options to address some of those concerns. And by inserting staff or the verbiage in there, that staff will be very much working with them in concert to make sure that whatever options that they propose will be acceptable by the city. So with that, like I said, staff recommend approval subject to conditions 1 through 6 as amended. Oh, and one thing we'll point out. So if this is approved with the amended language, the current ordinance that's in your packet does not include this language. So if you approve it, when it comes forward for second reading, we will then insert that language if you approve it as currently proposed. So with that, I yield to any questions.
All right, thank you. Questions for staff or the applicant? Councilmember Rader.
Thanks, Mayor. Right quick, Hector, you may know, how many commercial pads are in Phase 1 and Phase 2? 20?
So with Phase 2 here, there's 6 commercial pads on this one. Phase 1, do you remember off the top of your head? Is it 13? I'd have to look that up.
Okay. I think there's 18 or 20 of them, but I
In total,
didn't
there
know it.
are 18, I believe.
But I thought maybe you might know offhand. Okay, I want to ask, I think the applicant, maybe Mr. Pennington, I asked this question last time and I didn't really get an answer. So I'd like to ask about Zoetis, please.
Go ahead and ask the question.
Oh, I want to know what happened to Zoetis. And I asked that last time and you said they were relocating, but I mean, they did an expansion here in 2023, and I'm just curious, did they relocate here to Lease Summit? I can't find any information about it.
Yeah, Matt Pennington, Drake Development, 5841 West 135th Street, Oldham Park, Kansas. That is still ongoing. I mean, they have not decided exactly where they're going to relocate, but the relocation plan is in their hands, and our agreements aren't based on exactly where they're going to locate. It's when they're out.
Okay. Okay, all right, that's all I needed. Thank you. Thanks, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Funk.
Thank you, Mayor. Hector, this is probably a quick question for you or Matt. And that condition number 6, it talked about staff says the city has planned for an excess flow holding basin to be designed in 2028. Is this still going to have to be done after all these improvements?
Mr. Thorne will come down and answer that question.
Good evening, Jeff Thorne, Director of Water Utilities. Yes, Big Creek Excess Flow Holding Basin is a regional improvement identified in our 2022 wastewater master plan, funded to be designed in fiscal year 28, which technically could start July of 27, right? That's when our fiscal year starts. And then be constructed over the course of the next couple of years after that. It's a large pump station and flow holding basin. The receiving sewers downstream of Lease Summit are undersized. So sewers we do not own, maintain, or have the ability to upsize are undersized.
But sorry, Mr. Thorne, that basin is how much further south?
It's down near Greenwood.
It's the basin we've discussed for many years, further down towards, okay.
Yes, sir. It's coming up in our CIP. It's a $14 million project.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry. So it's a basin that is designed to take the excess flows from I&I and hold them so that the downstream lines can then accept them. And it was, like I said, identified in the 2022 wastewater master plan. And it is in our fiscal year 28 and 29 budgets for design and construction. It'll be a multi-year construction project.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Other questions for staff or applicant? Yes, sir.
I do have an answer to the question that was asked by Councilperson Member Rader. First phase had a total of 10 commercial lots, 2 residential lots, and then one, the open park area. So total of 13 lots, 10 commercial, and the 2 residential.
Okay, thank you. And then may I ask, just to confirm, we are voting on zoning as well?
On
From
this one,
PMIX to I mean, from P1 to PMIX, correct?
from PI to PMIX, correct, yes.
Thank you. Thanks, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Okay, is there anyone who wishes to speak in favor or in opposition to the application? Please come forward. Okay.
Debbie Giddings. I think I'm probably beating a dead horse to death because I don't see you voting against this. However, is there a development of this size that has a U-turn right in the middle of the public highway? Things that have been discussed that you may not remember. I research, I write them down, I remember. I don't know about that. I would like to know that question. The only way to access this particular part of the development is from Bailey Road, either east or west. And north, you're going to have to, or to the south, you're going to have to go Bailey Road. There's no other way. If you're coming north, you have to either go Bailey Road or you go to 16th Street, but you can't go south on 16th Street. The left turn lane, if you recall, requires an escrow to be $100,000 when the left turn fails, being so close to 291 into the north development instead of going down to the stoplight. Has the school district assessed how the bus routes are going to go through this area for pickup and drop-off? The access to the fast food, they share drives. Has it been looked at to see what kind of stacking is going to happen when both of those drive-throughs get full? They not only share drives, but the amount of space between the drives is incorrect. There's 570 apartments north, 307 west, and these 330 units will tally 1,769 units in this area. How is the density going to handle that? And I find it interesting that at the very last hour, we're ringing a bell about water. We have water problems, and we're asking the taxpayers to increase the levy or the sales tax in April because of stormwater. And we're starting a development with asphalt and shingles and not considering what the runoff is going to be when you have the chance. Who requested this? Did the city request it, or did the developer request it? And I think that there are several questions that don't get presented at the last time, except all of a sudden a change from stormwater. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else would like to speak? Okay, are there any additional questions from council? Does the applicant care to make any further comment? All right, hearing no further testimony, I'm closing the public hearing and reopening the regular session. Is there any council discussion on this application? Councilmember Rader.
First of all, I want to say that I'm not going to support this development. I did not support the prior one of Oldham East. I did support the first Oldham, but here are my concerns. First of all, we're taking planned industrial land and we're turning it into more apartments and more restaurants. So if we continue on this trajectory, where are we going to put industries that come in, commercial companies that want to come here into our city? That land is gone, and it continues to be that way. The residents are on fire with the amount of the apartments that are coming into Lease Summit, and you all have heard it. And so it's just like, I feel like that we have to listen to what they're saying and realize, how many more do we need? How many more apartments do we actually need here in Lease Summit? They're coming and coming and coming while we continue not to build our missing middle. And so with that, I mean, I just cannot continue to say I'm going to support these kinds of projects when I don't feel like that we're actually getting what it is that we really need and want here in Lease Summit. So thank you. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you. Any other comments, discussion? Councilmember Shields.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to say I'm really glad to see this project moving along as quickly as it is. I think it shows real dedication to developing this whole area that we're seeing these plans come through, and I'm looking forward to supporting this and the area continuing to develop and providing more housing choices and other services to our residents. So thank you.
Thank you. All right, seeing no further discussion. Councilmember Pryor.
Thank you. Did you say we're out? We're out of the public hearing, correct? Okay, thank you. I just wanted to say I have voted no on numerous apartment complexes, even when sometimes it's felt like the only people up here voting no are Councilmember Hodges and myself. So I have voted no on plenty. But I am excited for this development. I am a yes for that reason. I think that this development brings a great public benefit, and I've stated this before, that I think it changes the future of our city for the better. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Then I'm going to go to Councilmember Shields and ask you to read Bill number 26-005.
Thank you, Mayor. I move for second reading Bill number 26-005, an ordinance approving rezoning from District PI Planned Industrial District to District PMIX Planned Mixed Use District and Preliminary Development Plan for East Village Phase 2 on approximately 50 acres of land generally located at the southeast intersection of Southeast Bailey Road and South M291 Highway, all in accordance with the provisions of Chapter 33, the Unified Development Ordinance of the Code of Ordinances for the City of Lease Summit, Missouri.
Thank you. A motion to move to second reading, Bill number 26-005. By Councilmember Shields, seconded by Councilmember Carlisle. Discussion? Yes, Councilmember Shields.
I just wanted to clarify, we don't need to make any motion to amend these provisions that staff put. They'll just put a substitute in or revised language when we do second reading. Is that correct? Or do we need to move to approve those changes?
I think the suggestion was as amended, and then that gives staff direction that when we bring it back for that final reading, it will include the underlined and bold text.
Okay, then my motion will be as amended. And my second will be to as. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, I'll be recusing myself again.
Thank you. Okay, discussion. I do think this area is the heart of the community. It's if you dropped a pin, it'd be, even though we call the downtown the heart of the community because it is the heart and soul, but geographically this is dead center pretty much in the community. So this area's tried to develop out numerous times by numerous developers as industrial, and it didn't never come to fruition after 25 plus years. So I'm excited about the development overall, both sides. This is going to be the gateway to the south portion of the community, and we've got PMIX, and we've got commercial, we've got Costco, we've got housing, we've got our apartments, yes, we've got townhomes. I mean, it's a little bit of everything, and yes, it's a few more restaurants, but I'm in full support, so I'll be voting for it. With that said, please cast your vote. All votes are in. Please record the vote. Passes 7-1 with one recusal. All right, we'll go to public comments. I've got like 10 different public comment scripts up here, but basically you get 3 minutes. It needs to be something on the agenda or something referring to the general operations of the city, not something on a public hearing. No attacks on private citizens, things of that nature. With that said, I have Ms. Vollenweider.
Tonight's agenda. I could pull it up and have it over here.
From which application?
It would be from tonight. It was in the agenda.
It was in one of his presentations?
Yeah, if you hit the, it would be for the breeding. It was in there tonight.
I'm not going to have that available up here.
Tudor. I just need tonight's pulled up.
Legistar is what you wanted if you're trying to get to the agenda for tonight.
Yep.
Let's see if this will plug in.
And then I'll want to switch to the overhead.
So there's that. You can speak from that and show.
But I don't have,
You can show with my mouse right there, and then when you switch to this, you do that.
there, okay. Teresa Vollenweider, 5201 Northeast Maybrook Road. My question the last time was how much property, how much land, how much strip of land does the city want for right-of-way when this rezoning and the plat take place? And when you look at this diagram of Matthew Schlish's, this is a rezoning exhibit, AKA,
Sorry. There you go.
Thank you. Retracement survey. You'll see that on one side is Prairie Ridge Estates, so you got a plat there. You know, you can look that one up. And on this other side, he shows us it's the mist. So you've got another plat for the mist. So then when we go in and look at those two subdivisions, the plats for those, you'll find that the width of the road is 60 feet. But in the Breeden area, the width of the road, taking from the center line of the road to her property, is 15 feet. So maybe a width of road of 30 feet, and that coincides with the original survey. They found it in a road book that it was 30 feet. So more than likely, if we ever do see the plat, my question becomes, has a minor plat been received? Anybody look at it? Anybody verify it? Where will that minor plat be found? Under 1650, 1660, 1700? Do we need transpose numbers? 1560, 1070? What address do we need to look under to find it? Because we know the city likes to try to hide these things. So when we go in the city's portal, where are we going to look? And if you're thinking you want to make things more administrative around here and not make them go through planning commission and city council, I've got news for you. That's a bad idea. Especially these minor plats need to go back and be going through planning commission and going through city council. Because if you think these amounts of land are just piddly, I did the multiplication on this. 400, 268, 317, total 985 times 15 feet. If you want more, another 15 feet, 14,783 square feet. Divide that by 43,560, and you come up with about a third of an acre. Take a look at a 2001 condemnation. This is the condemnation that had Conrad Lamb and Mike Pendergast. We're talking about 0.11 acres here, 0.03 here for storm easement. Just look at some amounts here. $6,038, $7,800, $44,000. Here we're talking about 0.22 acres. I said we're talking about 0.33 acres. Does Julia Breeden know anything about this? Does she understand that that land has value? I'm anxious to see that plat.
Thank you, Ms. Vollenwetter. All right, that's all the speakers I have because Ms. Giddings had spoke on the Dutch Brothers. You want to speak about something different than Dutch Brothers because that was already on the agenda, okay?
Citizens of Lee Summit are discovering the water.
Hold on, Ms. Giddings. We'll get the microphone for you.
I'm short. The citizens of Lee Summit are discovering their water and sewer bills increased this month. Heating bills have greatly increased, and despite today's temperature, there is still a lot of winter to go. In April, the city will ask the voters to increase the sales tax ¼ cent for stormwater improvements. Currently, the rate is 8.49%, but most citizens pay 9.49% due to the 1% tax in the CID districts. Recently, there was an attempt to include Hy-Vee West in that, and it was settled out of court. There are CID, TDD, TIF, LCRs, Chapter 100 districts. Citizens are starting to realize the amount of tax money that is being diverted back to developers. They know the money is being given out, but the alphabet soup of incentives would stymie the average citizen's understanding of them, and I won't live long enough to see them expire. You just approved all of these apartments. They all have incentives. At the Planning Commission meeting Thursday, Ward and Hook Road will come up. Later before you hear, Ward and Arbor Walk will come up. The visual impact of 3- and 4-story buildings surrounded by asphalt is heartbreaking. People came to the community for neighborhoods and home ownership. You'll have a battery plant come to you soon, They want Chapter 100. The Financing and Budget Committee meets tomorrow to review the city's financial status. There's one paragraph in the document that got my attention. It is under legal matters and starts with, "The city is party to a number of lawsuits." Paraphrasing the rest, it goes on that potential claims against the city after insurance payments cannot be determined, but legal counsel's opinion is that it won't affect the city's finances. There's a social media post recently about a lawsuit the city settled a few years back, and one being alluded to that will become before the city. I understand you're going to close session. They're not able to be discussed, but ones that have been concluded are public knowledge. And I did a deep dive and I found out about both of them. A short city online video update about all the development occurring is not the meat and bones of what is really happening with our tax dollars. I have mentioned just a few. Most citizens are not aware of what happens here until it's too late to make the opinion known. The City of Lee Summit's website has the meeting videos, but good luck finding them and even better luck finding the information on the developments. The need to be more transparent with the citizens about the action of the council is a fiduciary responsibility of all elected officials. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, with that, we will go to a recess. We'll do, let's do 10 minutes.
Ever wondered how the city budget works? The total 2026 budget is over $380 million, which includes funding for daily operations, capital improvements, debt service, internal service, and enterprise operations. For example, the general fund is the foundation for the city's day-to-day services and investments like road maintenance, public safety, and fire protection. The general fund is supported by property taxes, sales taxes generated by local businesses, franchise taxes, and other sources like licenses, permits, and fees. For every dollar citizens pay in property tax, the city receives 18 cents. This means the city receives $845 a year in property taxes for a median single-family house. These taxes provide public safety, park maintenance, infrastructure, and the best services to keep Lee Summit going and improving. One of the community's top priorities is infrastructure investment, which is reflected in the Capital Improvement Plan. $113 million of the 2026 budget is invested into the Capital Improvement Plan. The 2026 Capital Improvement budget includes investments like the 291 and 50 Highway Interchange, 3rd Street, Ward and Persels intersection, and Pryor Road. The budget process includes guidance from the City Council, citizen input, and critical success factors from the city's Ignite strategic plan. To learn more about the city's budget, visit cityofls.net/budget.
When the person called on the phone, she said that there was a dinosaur walking down her road. Of course, we had to go out and check that out. We get out there and it was a big African tortoise, probably 60 pounds, walking down the road. When they walk, they really stand up tall, so I could see why she thought it was a dinosaur. I'm Rodney Wagner. I'm the manager of Lease Animal Control. So as you can see, we get all sorts of animals here. You got some guinea pigs off to the side. All the windows up here are animals that are adoptable right now. Every one of these dogs is ready to go and ready for adoption. And the same thing with our cats over here. A lot of cool cats in here now, so this is our 3-acre lot we have out back. And this is where we do all the walking of dogs, the exercise. We also have a side yard off to the side over there, so we can let them run loose. They can run together, and we have what's called play groups. Kind of like having a bunch of kids. Here's our vet room. We have a vet that comes out twice a week. This is our Sally Port where we bring the animals into. This is one of our animal control trucks, and we can hold up to 6 animals. We have a lift on the other side to put big animals in. We actually have temperature gauges in here and in the truck to tell us how hot it is. Once it gets to a certain temperature, we bring all the animals back here immediately. So this actually has traps in it, but we do a lot of wildlife trapping. I mean, a lot. So bats, potbelly pigs, horses, cows, emus, a lot of reptiles. We had a citizen one time that had over 200 reptiles in his basement. caimans and alligators in here that are 4 or 5 feet long. You can't keep those. And people do, and they're surprised when they can't keep them. I'm like, really? You're surprised you can't have an alligator in your house? Our main goal here is public safety and also the safety of the animals. And we have very dedicated people back there, and they definitely stay here for the love of the animals, which also includes getting them adopted out. We'll have about 4,000 impounded animals a year. Probably about close to 2,000 are dogs and cats. The cats and dogs, when they get impounded here, they go on a 5-day hold. And then after the 5 days, if the owner doesn't show up, then we can put them up for adoption. To adopt an animal here is actually really simple. You just come in, look for whatever animal you're looking for, find the right pick. You go to the adoption room up there and see if you get along with them. You spend as much time as you want to in there. From that point on, it's just a matter of making sure they're spay or neutered and all their vaccinations up to par and they're good to go. We have a very high adoption rate because we try everything in our power to get animals adopted out. We have Heart of America, a Humane Society that we do a lot of adoptions through. And then we also have other groups. We have some people that literally will just look all over the country for somewhere for a dog to go. And we sent dogs up into South Dakota, North Dakota, Washington State. So it's actually, it's a huge united effort to get all these animals home.
Tarzan's got lots of energy. Hazel's got a weird meow. Belle, she wants nothing to do with the other cats. She'll kind of get her grumpy face going.
And the good thing about the people here is that they get all their friends to get animals too. All of us have probably the limit of all the animals that we can have at home. You know, they are huge animal lovers. If it was up to the people here, we'd have 15 cats running around in here. We had a citizen one time out there and he was bathing his 2 9-foot-long boa constrictors in the front yard. Apparently that was garnering some attention, and so we went out there and had to have a talk with him about that. Why do I do this job? Oh, dude, I love this job. I grew up on a farm, and taking care of that many animals, you can't help but like animals. This is just like fancy farming. You know, you're just bringing animals in here, taking care of them, and find them homes, and yeah, absolutely animal lover.
This is the best place to work.
I love working here.
I feel very blessed. I
love it here. I look forward to coming to work every day, being a part of this team.
Like a family away from home, where everyone feels like everybody knows their name.
A city that supports you, we see that with our benefits.
A pension, vacation days, job security.
Being able to be heard, we feel valued, we feel respected.
Lease Summit is a very progressive city.
It's growing, it's thriving.
We have this drive towards not just doing a job, but doing it with a spirit of excellence. I had the opportunity to continue to grow, regardless of 30-plus years doing this kind of work.
It's more than just dollars and cents.
We're here really to give back.
Providing a service to better our community.
To go out and serve people.
To be a part of something bigger than yourself. If I would have known what I know now, years ago, I would have been here much sooner.
Traditionally, we think as police officers, those responding to law enforcement needs within the community. But honestly, we are there to serve our citizens, and our citizens do go into crisis. They do have mental health crises, and we're being called to those scenes on a regular basis. In order to help serve those citizens better, we did initiate the Crisis Intervention Team Program. These are officers that are specially trained to de-escalate crisis situations. Recently, we've brought co-responders onto the scene, licensed qualified mental health professionals housed within our police department, and they respond with those officers directly to those scenes where a crisis is occurring so they can interact with that citizen and get them the help they need right there on that scene.
The co-responders are either a bachelor or master level in a behavioral health related field. They wear plain clothes, they don't carry weapons or anything like that.
I have a police radio that I listen to all day. Listen for, those key words: mental health, behavioral health, crisis.
There's a lot of officers that just call for me. I have my own radio number.
I also have the ability to self-dispatch to them and say 982 is en route.
Officers en route, 914, Armstrong.
So typically I arrive after they've made it safe. I'll make contact and get kind of the rundown, and then I just kind of jump right in.
Like, hey, you know, my name's Allison. I'm a mental health professional. I'm here to help you. I'm not here to take you to jail or arrest you.
Sometimes all a person needs is a voice, someone neutral, someone outside that, you know, can listen. I do a lot of safety planning, including family, their support network, who's close to you. If they're home alone, who can come over and hang out with you today? Can we lock away your sharps? Can we put up your meds? Do you need meds? Can we get you over to the urgent care to get you assessed for your medications? Some of them also are like, oh, I'm so glad you came. This made me feel so much better.
Our main goal as co-responders is to, one, get people connected to the services that they need, and also divert from emergency rooms and jails.
And they almost get a different view of the police responding. That lets me know you care and the officers care.
Please, how can we help you?
My husband has...
In 2020, we had 722 mental health related calls for service. 2022, by that time, 1,479. These mental health related calls for service are increasing. How we're responding to that is increasing the number of crisis intervention team officers we have available, as well as the number of co-responders we have available to respond on these calls.
So what I think is important for the community to know about the co-responder program is that we're here, we exist. All you have to do when you call 911 is ask for us. You know, say, hey, I want a co-responder to respond to this crisis, and we'll go. I was really struggling about 8 years ago on my personal journey with mental health, and I met some amazing social workers and amazing programs that have helped me get to where I am today. I really couldn't see myself doing anything else. We want to help, and that's what we love to do.
So I had a client, we got a call, she had some suicidal ideations, and she really felt that she had nobody. And you know, and getting to know her story and getting to know who comes around and sees you, well then we found a support person and they responded immediately and we made a plan. I called back and checked on her in an hour, and then I checked on her in 2 hours. We were able to get her into the additional services to where she talks to someone every week or more. I just took a person that really just thought they had nobody and nobody would show up for them, and show them you do. And you'll be amazed who is in your corner if you just simply say, I need a little help.
You can make the difference in somebody else's life.
If you're trying to get into the fire and EMS service, Lease Summit is probably the top name.
On a daily basis, we are tasked with an incredible task. So we're trying to keep it a relaxed environment.
As a new person, you are constantly on edge, learning.
The morning will look typical, coming in, getting a report from the shift that's going off, we get our truck checks done.
Our citizens trust us and believe in us by providing amenities like our gear, our stations.
They build it to accommodate getting to a call, but also having a home. State-of-the-art weight equipment.
Individual bunk rooms.
Downtime areas.
Breakfast and dinners together.
Cook together.
Get to know one another.
Train together.
Like a brother knows a brother and a sister knows a brother. Banter back and forth, but when the tones go off, they go to work.
We're here for 48 hours, so it can happen at any time. You can be in the gym. You can be in the middle of the night.
Okay, we're going to bring this meeting back to order. We still have some items of business to discuss. We're on agenda item 6A, which is a presentation. This is a conceptual economic development incentive request for battery energy storage system, 501 Northeast Strother Road. SMT Energy is the applicant. And I believe this is not a public hearing, but we're going to just hear what this conceptual is. So, Mr. Peterson, are you going to make the presentation? There he is.
Sure, thank you, Mayor. Good evening and Happy New Year, everybody. Kurt Peterson here on behalf of SMT Energy. I have with me Sam Jackson, sitting in the second row here, who is the Director of Development for SMT that's traveled here to be with us tonight. So who is SMT? SMT is a private energy company. They focus on developing and then operating battery energy storage systems, which we say in short BESS. It was founded in 2019. They have 12 operating BESS projects to date. The next question is, I'm sure some of you are BESS experts, but I'm also sure some of you are not. So I'll take a second to define what BESS is. BESS is a series of batteries in cabinets. I say that with quotes, cabinets. They are sited always next to an electrical substation where they interconnect. They draw excess, low value, as we'd say, electricity off the grid during low demand, and then they put it back onto the grid when there's high demand, sort of high stress situations and periods. So why BESS? BESS is an increasing demand across the country as energy demand has risen, especially in areas with data centers, which is becoming everywhere. BESS provides critical capacity and stability for the entire local grid system. So BESS is also increasingly important as we having more and more wind and solar, because as you can imagine, those are not always reliable when the wind is not blowing, when the sun goes down. There's an intermittent nature of that generation, and BESS can step in and help and provide stability. It provides not only supply when electricity is needed in our local grid, but also it provides price stability, which is good for consumers. So we've been trying to recruit to the region, really, and to the area more BESS. We've seen it more in Texas and California, and that way they're ahead of us. But we're thrilled that SMT has shown an interest in potentially making this large capital investment into the city and our region. So a little bit more on BESS. Project components are on the screen. There's really three main pieces to a BESS project. You have the switchgear, which you can see called out in the upper right of the screen there. That is what really controls the flow of electricity, the brain in that sense. You have the inverter and the transformer there together in the middle of the screen. That is what makes sure that the electricity, as you're going from battery to grid and grid to battery, is in the right format. Think AC or DC, not the band. And then also voltage. You have to have the right voltage. The last are what I call the cabinets. As you can see on the screen, inside of the cabinets are the actual batteries that are storing the electricity. In the packet, because we're connecting to an Evergy substation, which is next to us, you'll see a letter that shows Evergy support and their work right now on our interconnection evaluation. The site itself is 5 acres. It's at the northeast corner of the airport. You can see the runways on the screen there. It's at very specifically in the southeast quadrant of Strother and Hagen. Zooming in on that blue or green, whatever you're seeing, aqua, so you can see the site in more detail. You see that the Evergy substation is immediately to our south there, and you see Hagen on the left and Strother just to the top, to the north. The site plan, which is in the dotted black line there, shows that access is to Hagen to the west. It shows a retention pond in the speckled square just to the east of the actual Bess fenced area. And then you can see that Evergy substation to the south and that called out connection point where you connect to the grid through the substation. I pulled a few pictures from other SMT projects that are of similar size to give you a sense of scale and size. You can see the locations below the pictures if you're curious where those are. Those are 2 projects, and then I pulled 2 others. You can see those. The total capital investment to make this project happen would be just under $10 million, as you can see on the screen in front of you. Yes, there's land costs. Yes, there's significant construction costs, but by far the biggest cost is the actual equipment. And the biggest component of equipment cost are the batteries, as they're very, very expensive technology. The reason for the conceptual tonight, beyond just giving you a heads up that this is something that SMT is looking at on this site, is a proposed public-private partnership. As the screen says, it would be a proposed Chapter 100. And the first time that I've seen this, at least, it is only a proposal related to personal property. Think again, that equipment I just talked about, not real property. And specifically, the abatement for the personal property would be 10-year fixed pilot at an average of 75%, which, if that sounds reminiscent, we've done that with a number of our industrial projects. At the bottom of the screen, I indicated I think this might be a record. I had trouble reading Mr. Bushek's table as it was printed out, so he can correct me. But in terms of the assistance to total investment here, this is, if not the lowest, which it may be, it's one of the lowest that we've seen. While it is only 5% assistance to the overall project, I will tell you it is a crucial 5% for a project like this. The biggest barrier we've had so far in bringing best projects to the region have been getting them financed. So this 5%, trust me when I say it is significant, even if it's not a big number on the city side of the ledger. I always try to end these short presentations before answering questions and after Mr. Bushek speaks with the value proposition, because as I always say, I know you're here for a purpose, which is to represent your constituents and the city overall, and there has to be value here to even consider something like this proposal. So I just end with a couple slides on that, the value proposition. One, we always start by looking to see in the city's economic development policy whether this is an area that the city has flagged as important to have more public-private partnerships to bring development. This is within one of the targeted planning areas in the city's economic development policy, specifically the I-470 North area. You can see the arrow on the screen pointing to that area from the economic development policy. Second value proposition is the construction spend is $3 million. While it's not $300 million, like some of the projects even tonight that you've heard about, it is $3 million, which brings plenty of construction wages. And then also going forward, while they are part-time jobs, we have several maintenance, several electrical trade, and a compliance job that come with this development. Next, just overall, what does BEST bring to Lease Summit and our grid? One is stability, so it provides supply when there are great needs. That's really at the heart of what BEST does. But it also does so in a way that's energy efficient, and that otherwise, what I'm about to say could be a 10-minute sort of geeking out on electricity and efficiency, but I'll make it in 10 seconds if you time me now. When coal-fired plants or whatever producing a ton of electricity, if it's not used and there's not batteries, which generally there's not, it's wasted. It goes away. So when I say energy efficiency, we are capturing energy that otherwise could be wasted and then being able to use it in the local grid down the line. Lastly, what I wanted to call attention to on the screen is this is something that not only has grid stability and provides energy efficiency, but it has 0 emissions, which is a big plus. I always leave this for last because I personally think it probably is the most important, which is when it really comes down to it, what does this proposal look like? What does this project look like for the city's bottom line financially? So what you see on the screen is that by taking this piece of land at the edge of the airport next to an electrical substation and developing in this way with the Chapter 100 that's proposed, the city is financially in the black or in the plus or in the green, as you see on the colors on the screen. And you can kind of walk your eyes down to how we come to that. And I'm sure Mr. Bushek will probably talk about this in his presentation. But not only is this a financial gain out of the gate for the city by moving forward in this way, this is only a snapshot intentionally to be conservative for the first 10 years. So after 10 years, when the Chapter 100 on the personal property goes away, it continues on even more in the black or in the green as it colored on the screen. So in conclusion, overall, this is not a big dollar amount requested for assistance, certainly the lowest I've ever been able to have the privilege of being a part of here in Lease Summit. But this 5% for this project is extremely meaningful in helping it move forward. BESS, as supported by Evergy, as I said, and the letter in the packet, is extremely helpful for the grid stability for the area, and through the city, through the structure, the city will be, like I said, better off financially immediately. Now I'm going to anticipate one question and then yield for Mr. Bushek to come up. Timing, where is this? What happens? So this is a project that already has basic land use approvals, but needs to go to permit. But the sequence is we wanted to come tonight, engage as we always do, what sort of feedback council has for the proposal. The next step would be, if that's positive, to finalize with Evergy our interconnection analysis. That's just the details of exactly how this electrical connection happens. When that's completed, we can go straight to permitting. There was already a pre-development meeting with staff, so everybody's sort of on the same page. And then we would hope to start construction later this year and conclude in the first part of next year. Look forward to answering questions, Mayor, after Mr. Bushek speaks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, David Bushek, Chief Counsel of Economic Development and Planning. My portion of this presentation tonight will be fairly brief because there's only one incentive request that they're making, and it's fairly straightforward, but it's something that you haven't commonly seen, so have a little bit of detail about personal property versus real property. But you'll see here, this is our simple summary of their request. They're requesting to use Chapter 100. In this case, it's personal property tax abatement as opposed to real property tax abatement. The request is 75% for 10 years, and the purpose is to reduce project costs. The projected savings to the developer is about $500,000, which, as you've heard, is about 5% of the total project cost, and it's significant to the developer. A quick primer on real versus personal property. Almost all of the incentive requests that you've considered in recent memory have been real property, which is dirt and buildings. Personal property is tangible items that aren't attached to a building or aren't a fixture to a building. And then this type of equipment, even though it's affixed to the ground, it's taxed as personal property. So the request coming to you is personal property tax abatement. This type of equipment already has a 7-year depreciation schedule. And what that means is in year one, it's valued at 100% of the valuation as imposed by the county. And then there's a statutorily mandated decrease in the valuation over the next 7 years. So it decreases in year 2 down to 89%, and then it slowly goes down to, in year 8, it would be 10% of the valuation. So there's already a built-in depreciation, and that's factored into the numbers that you're seeing tonight. So in other words, the statement of this value here takes into account that depreciation schedule, which is unique to personal property. Usually we're used to seeing the value of real property go up, and we talk about its escalation. In this case, the value goes down, and over a period of 8 years, the depreciation is down to 10% of the value of the property, and that's factored into the calculations. This page then, this is a little more detailed summary of the request, and I'll walk through this as I typically do. It's a 10-year period, 75% abatement. I'll note here that the intention is to create a pilot schedule. And so even though we're talking about these numbers here, when we get to the point of implementation, we'll establish a pilot schedule so there will be a set amount that both parties will know what their payments are for the period of 10 years. And then personal property tax benefit, we start with no benefit now because this equipment doesn't exist and it's not being taxed. And then the pilots during the first year is about $16,000, $17,000. And over 10 years, it's about $178,000 with the city's portion being here. If you are paying close attention to the developer's number, you'll notice that the number that Mr. Peterson showed you right here for the city's benefit is about $31,000. The reason for that is one thing that I'm doing in this case, which I haven't done in every situation, I'm showing this merchants and manufacturers inventory replacement tax, which is a property tax that is distributed amongst the taxing districts. So the city will receive about 17% of this tax amount, which would add to this, and you get to the $31,000 that was in Mr. Peterson's presentation. I just noticed that, and I thought I might point that out to you. The value of this request to the developer, as we've talked about $500,000, which is 5.1% of total project costs. The impact to the city just from this abatement only is this number down here. And then Mr. Peterson showed you that number as compared to the other tax benefits that will flow to the city in the form of real property taxes and the other taxes that are applicable to this property. This chart I have shown you recently. This is a chart that shows again, this is real property, not personal property, because you haven't received this type of request recently. But this table shows you the projects where you have approved abatement for equal to or greater than 75%. And the industrial projects are listed in green, and there's several industrial projects that you've already approved abatement for, and you'll notice that many of them are for an extended period, more than 10 years. And then the final chart that I have to show you, you've seen this many times. It's been updated as we go. So we have East Village indicated on here, although we're still in the implementation stage. And then we get to the summary down here. I've talked to you about this many times, so I won't go through this in detail, but you'll see that the Chapter 100 average, based on our history, is about 10%. And as we've discussed, this request is about 5%, which is at the very low end of what the city has approved in the past for incentive packages. That concludes my initial comments, and I'd be happy to listen to your discussion or answer questions.
Okay. I've got people with questions and such, so I'll start with Councilmember Lovell.
Thank you, Mayor. This is probably for the applicant. In that location that you showed, is this connected or right by a substation?
It's immediately north, so right next to it.
Okay. What other locations do they have in the area? I saw you showed like Texas or whatever, like what other cities or municipalities have?
Good question. Yeah, SMT, this is why I said kind of the recruitment, it's a big deal. SMT, all 12 of theirs have been in Texas, which, like California, are a number of years ahead of us as a region. So this is their first.
Struggle with their power
yeah,
too.
That's
like,
true.
So
Good
Wiley
point.
Summit.
I mean, again, this isn't the only best developer that we're working with in the region. So it's more, you're going to see eventually, we're going to see it all across the United States, because it's a good point with brownouts and things in California, and Texas had its issues. Sort of more acute, I'd call it, Councilman Lovell, but we all have the issues, particularly with the bigger energy demands with AI and data centers and all that. So you're going to see more. This is just kind of the tip of the spear.
Well, that's so. I mean, it is definitely a need that this city needs to address. I'm not an electrician, it's like voltage, wattage, or whatever we've talked about. But I don't know that this necessarily solves that. Like, to me, this is, and correct me if I'm wrong. So I'm trying to think what the public benefit is. This is definitely a benefit to Evergy because they will produce energy, and if they can't sell it or push it out, this group captures it, then probably resells it to Evergy, right? So that's their financial model, is like, hey, you're going to lose this. Nobody's using it in the city. So then I try to think, like, what's our public benefit? Because it's not really increasing our wattage or our ability to provide more power. It's capturing power that's not used for Evergy, going into the batteries, and then being resold to Evergy. So then I say, like, what's the public benefit to us? Does it lower our cost, or like, what do we really get?
You're on the right track. No, nothing you said is wrong at all, but I would capture it this way. One is, again, grid stability, which we can unpack that together if you want right now, but start with the outline. Grid stability, which does matter to all of us here. But second is price stability, because what you're doing isn't, when the energy goes back into the grid, it's at a time when there's higher demand, which means higher costs, and economics 101, right? When you're putting it back on, and there's more supply than has the tendency to keep prices the same or bring them down. So grid stability and price stability.
I mean, right. I mean, like, how does that affect, like, are we going to see something noticeable, like, in our energy bills, or, like, I mean, is it kind of negligible, or is it more like?
It's right.
Because to me, it appears like this is Evergy that's producing energy. It's going to lose it otherwise, and this is a system to help them capture it because it's not wasted, and then it's going to get pumped back to them, or it's going to be able to be reuse it another time. So I could see why they would want something like that. Again, like, I don't know what grid issues we currently have here, which we could have more, but like this necessarily would not solve our problem for the increase in need of energy that we need for a data center or something like that. Like the size of this is not something that it can take like a Google data center, but absolutely this is exactly what helps with that. It's just. And then in these other locations, were there incentives granted to them, like down in Texas and these other places?
Everything in our region, yes, that we're working on to bring to the Midwest, but in Texas, no, not with the 12 there. But it is a different regulatory environment.
And then I saw this letter from Evergy. It says, Evergy is currently in the process of completing a system impact study for a BES located at 351, whatever. This location would interconnect with Evergy's Strother's Road substation. It says Evergy currently has a good working relationship with SMT Energy and is working on completing the necessary studies to allow them to interconnect to Evergy's distribution system. So is this just like it says they're in the process of completing an impact study, so have they completed that, and what is that?
That's that interconnection study I mentioned at the very, very end when I said we go through tonight. Hopefully we finish that with Evergy. It's really technical. It's not a question of whether it will work. It's how how you said you're not an electrician. Same with me. But all the technicals of making it connect, and then moving forward with permitting.
And then is this either they get the incentive and like the incentive, if they don't get the incentive, it doesn't work and it's not financially feasible and they don't do it, or is it?
Most likely. The other thing, because I try to keep my presentation short, but when you ask me questions, I'm happy to elaborate.
Yeah.
So what we're seeing mostly with BEST projects, and it involves the Southwest Power Pool, SPP, not only the local utility, and you have to get in queues and lines, and it takes a long time. So what tends to happen, it's not just SMT. You go out and you find a lot of sites. Again, I'm personally involved with this in the Midwest right now. And then not all of them work. So you see what financially is going to finance the best, things like this. And then you kind of have to go with their best options.
Okay.
So the answer is we don't know for sure, but we know it absolutely would help this be a compelling site that we could move forward.
I think that's all I have now. Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Shields.
Thank you, Mayor. I pushed the button for myself and for Councilmember Pryor, whose computer is down, so if she wants to go first, that's fine with me, if that's okay with you.
Councilmember Pryor.
Thank you. So Councilmember Lovell asked a lot of my questions, but one of my big questions is, why are we incentivizing this when this is a benefit to Evergy?
So I should have jumped in right there. I'm so glad you're asking again. I would not call this in any way an incentive for Evergy. I know why you would start down that line and think that way, but it's actually at the end of the day, I mean, why does Evergy exist other than I walked into that? Shareholders, I get it. But on another level, Evergy exists to make sure that there's a stable supply of electricity for who? For us, individually, our homes and our businesses. And ultimately what this is doing is providing the stability for the electrical grid system. I wouldn't call that inherently Councilmember Pryor for Evergy. It's for the end user.
So my power used to go out, probably still will this summer, all the time in downtown. When you call into Evergy, they tell you, our power grid's overloaded, turn your air conditioning up, we'll turn the power on when we can. They admit their power grid's overloaded. So instead of them having to put more money back into really to get our power grid not overloaded.
Just your money, right? Because rates then go up, but yeah.
Well, they go up regardless of what they do, but.
Not gonna argue.
So this is a benefit to Evergy. This is a direct benefit because now they're gonna be able to prolong the infrastructure work that they're doing in our city because we're incentivizing this with taxpayer dollars. So while it might be a benefit to us, it's ultimately benefiting Evergy.
So one, it's a net benefit to our taxpayers here as
But Evergy's not going to credit us the money. Our rates are going to continue to go up. They're not a company that's going to lower our bill. Ours are going to continue. They've already said with the AI data centers, ours are going to continue to go up. We're going to have another rate increase soon if we haven't already. I don't remember. So they're not going to look at this as, okay, they're holding energy for us for whenever we need it, we can use it. So we're going to stabilize their bills and they're going to be they're not going to have the increase. So it is I don't understand the benefit to us. I personally think Evergy should be incentivizing this. This is a direct benefit to them. And what happened, so it says 2023, is that their oldest one is 2023?
The company was founded in 2019. I'd have to look at the exact date, but.
So what happens if this doesn't pan out? And do we just end up with?
It just won't get built. We just won't be able to.
Okay,
move
but
forward.
what if it does get built, it doesn't go as it plans, because I feel like that happens all the time. Do we just end up with batteries there that just sit there and then leak? I mean, what's the plan?
Once it goes, because then we have a power purchase agreement with Evergy if you get all the way to the last step, and there's no failure at that point. I mean, it's helping the system. There's no one can come up and debate that it's not helpful with grid stability and all that. So there's no failure like a business at that point.
Okay, that's good to know.
Councilmember Pryor, can I, just because you're in a good way, you're coming on with strong opinions, just to reframe again, because this is maybe the crux of the issue. We're talking about who's benefiting, right? And one, in a sort of non-debatable way, the city, if this happens on this site with the Chapter 100 that's proposed, comes out ahead financially, period. That's that part. The part, though, that I know that you're focusing on, and Councilman Lovell had, a good question about it. Well, beyond that, because that's real, taxpayers benefit. Is this just a giveaway to Evergy? And I just want to say it one more time. Evergy, when they make improvements to the system, always will bill it back. This is not a dig on Evergy. We're not here to do that. That's what public utilities do, right? If they have to do capital costs and what have you, it's ultimately going to find its way back through rates, through what we pay for electricity. Here, by not only making the system more stable, so hopefully if there is an overcapacity problem, then this is just one project, but it's incremental, it helps. It will help you with that situation that you face. So I think that does help the citizens of Lease Summit on stability. But back to the money side, ultimately, if it does mean there's more capacity so that Evergy doesn't have to plan for bigger production, right, of electricity, because best projects are there when those spikes happen and can feed electricity back. That's literally what they do. Again, Councilman Lovell said it well. That is meaning they don't have to go create more generation, whatever that's renewables or coal or what have you, and means they're not going to have to bill a bunch back and ultimately hit your electric bill and your electric bill. And so I guess I just named 3 different ways. I really truly believe that this project, if it can happen, does help your constituents.
I guess I don't believe that it'll affect our electric bills positively. I don't believe that. I don't think Evergy's that great of a company. But, so it will have a direct benefit to our city. But again, I'm not seeing how, I don't know. I would have to learn more, but as of right now, I have a lot of questions regarding this, and I'm not, I think some incentives are good with public benefit. I'm not seeing that this offers enough public benefit for the incentive. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Funk.
Oh, Mayor?
Oh, Councilmember Shields.
Yeah, sorry, thank you. Excuse me. So, the way, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems to me this is almost more like someone who has rooftop solar panels selling back to the grid when they have overcapacity. Like my mom does this. Like she put solar panels on her house, and if she's generating more electricity than she uses, she gets to sell it back to Evergy. It's just like one more source of supply that Evergy can purchase, sort of, right? Like
your mom's actually yes, high level, you're exactly right, and just going down one, she's actually producing electricity. That's the only difference. But you're right, the macro is the same. Yeah.
Right, but I guess like they're buying electricity cheap and they're selling it. They're buying low and selling high. But it's just like it's one more place that Evergy is purchasing electricity from, just like they purchase it from somebody who has rooftop solar or whatever. Like and then they sell it back to people who want it. Right?
General concept is the same.
Okay. And then you said that it depreciates over like 7 years. How long does the infrastructure actually last? Like how long do the batteries operate
David,
for?
Mr. Bushek was exactly right in terms of depreciation schedule. Again, could have had a longer presentation where he described, but you're going back in 5 and 10 year chunks and having to replace, which starts the depreciation schedule over again. So technically, we were just talking about it. It depends on how much, just like your cell phone battery, if you plug it in 1 million times, right, I think it makes the battery not have as long of a life. So some of it will be operational, we'll have to see. So up to like 15 years would be a battery life, but we already have to budget and think that you're doing it more often on a phased basis inside those cabinets, which again, starts that. We do everything conservative when we make presentations to you, so all those numbers about benefit were based on not in that 10-year period, starting over again.
So
but
when
there'll be some
they
of
do
that.
have to replace them, are they paying full freight on that personal
Right.
property tax at that point, or are they coming back and asking for an incentive to replace the burnt-out batteries?
No, it'll stay the same schedule, but especially I'm focusing on after year 10, because again, it's supposed to go 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
Every time you do that, you're starting over, referring back to the depreciation schedule that Mr. Bushek said. When the new battery comes in, that's at 100% again. And that starts over every time you buy a new battery. Again, I think most of you know that, but just for the record, which is more tax dollars going to the city.
I guess, I mean, like, if you come to the end of the incentive period and you are replacing batteries, are they going on full tax bills then?
Exactly
Okay.
right. That's
Okay.
exactly what I'm trying to say. Yep.
Sorry, excuse me. I guess for me, it seems like this is an okay project, like not a game-changing, region-changing thing, but fine. The incentive request is pretty low. It should not solve, but help some of the issues that we're seeing with capacity and hopefully ameliorate some of the issues that we're going to see as things like data centers come online. It's not going to fix them, but it's a step in the right direction. And then, like any incentive request, we do have the pilot schedule, so it is, right now, the land is generating $0. There's nothing on it. It's not generating any revenue. This would start generating some revenue for the city, not a ton, but, every little bit helps.
Excise tax, real property tax, right?
Yeah,
There'll be
and
things
it's the kind of development that requires basically no city services. Like, we're not sending police and firefighters out there all the time. We're not, like, it just generates revenue without requiring a lot of city expenditure. So, like, to me, it seems like fine. Like, I don't think it's going to fix all of our energy problems, but it seems like a way to start generating some revenue from the site. This property is located pretty close to our municipal airport. Is there a reason why it hasn't developed into something? I mean, it's right next to an electric substation. Like, are there challenges to this site being used for something else? Like, to me, that seems like the main opportunity cost is, could this be developed for something else that would generate more economic activity for the city?
I was thinking the same thing, Councilmember Shields. And just looking at our infrastructure in that area, this parcel is not currently served by a sewer. There would need to be a sewer extension to get to that. So that's one impediment that I've seen.
Okay. So, and just like with the other city services and stuff, it's one of the few things you could develop on this site that wouldn't require any kind of water or sewer or anything like that. It just needs to be next to the electric substation.
This type of development would not be a big demand on city services.
Okay. All right, I think those are all of my questions, but I guess, like, generally, I would be happy to see more, but the level of incentive seems very reasonable for a modest but reasonable return to the city. So, thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Funk.
Thank you, Mayor. I think Councilmember Lovell and Councilmember Pryor got through to some of my questions, probably for the developer. So is there expansion possibilities to this? I mean, I don't know what this substation, do we know what percentage of the city it serves?
Remind me, David, how to do that. Let's see. I was going to show you one. A picture tells 1,000 words. Sorry. No, wait.
Were you?
Oh, there we go, right there. Yeah, I think that's it. Councilmember Funk, starting with the first part, I'm going to show you the site plan. If you look at the black rectangle area, so the bottom, whatever that is, third or so, 25% of that site, that's the expansion area. And that's the capability for expansion. That's what's kind of building in for, future-proofing it. And then in terms of the actual existing substation, this is, technically it needs to be studied by Evergy, and they'll come up with the exact formulas and whatever and all the ways to connect. But we know that is compatible, that size there with the substation. So it doesn't require the substation to expand.
Okay, but do we know what this substation, what percentage of the city would benefit from this?
Oh, I see. That, yeah, it's not as direct one-to-one like that. this is getting into electrical engineering again. But no, so the question it doesn't really work like that, but I also don't know what maybe, I'm sure somebody, no, not even Ryan Elam is shaking his head, exactly what that substation feeds.
So going back to.
I know it's Lease Summit.
So I think the economics of this makes sense from an incentive perspective. I'm just trying to see what benefit we're providing to our constituents, and the fact that if it seems like a dollar transfer between SMT and Evergy, is there an economic impact that you could show us maybe in another presentation of what is it aside of the incentive economic benefit that we could reap? What are our citizens benefiting from this? I mean, is it?
The measurable technical that we can take to the bank is the straight sales tax revenues, I should say just tax revenue to the city, that the city comes out ahead, meaning the taxpayers come out ahead. The harder one to trace, but it's still real. Did I use the word incremental, I think I said when I was up here? There's an incremental benefit, but as several council members have mentioned, it's not like the impact of finally getting Costco at Oldham. Do you know what I mean? It's not that kind of splash, but it's incremental. And hopefully, from my perspective, it leads to more BES in the area. So it helps, but it's harder to put a number, unlike tax dollars to the city, which we can quantify. It's harder to say I still haven't convinced Councilmember Pryor that on the consumer sort of electrical pricing, but it is a truism that as you provide more supply during high times of demand, that it will help. Can we formula that out based on, we can't, it's just, we know it's good.
But you could understand what part of the city we're serving here. I mean, we're not serving the entire Lease Summit community off of this one substation, I don't believe.
No.
So we're only benefiting a small piece of the pie from this process.
That's right. We need more BES, honestly, not just Lease Summit. We need more BES projects like this to have bigger macro effects. So yeah, it's incremental. It's definitely true.
Thank you. I think, I mean, if we could see something that shows there's some sort of net benefit to the consumers in this area, that, hey, at this point in time, I mean, if these guys are doing this and they're professionals, they have to know that, hey, when we sell this back to the grid, we're lowering costs by this much versus, based on the demand. There's got to be something there, maybe.
I wish we're really getting into regulatory and pricing of Evergy, which I know was the very thing that Councilmember Pryor and I were talking about. No one can do it doesn't exist where we can figure that out. There's so much that goes into that. But again, my hopeful comfort that I'm providing is qualitatively, like directionally, I know it's true, but no one can tell you, anybody, the exact dollar effect on pricing. It just can't.
Thank you, sir.
What's that?
I said thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mayor.
Councilmember Hodges?
Thank you. Unsure on how substations work, but the one that you're talking about, does it only benefit LS or Lease Summit residents?
The question you're asking is that substation only feeding electrical lines that bring?
Does that energy only stay for Lease Summit residents?
I think the answer in general when you're going into the grid is no. So again, always telling you when we're reaching the edge of my expertise, but no. I mean, once we get into the grid, it's in the grid, but that substation does serve Lease Summit, yeah.
Okay, so, and maybe this is off base, but how do we ensure that the energy that's being saved, that we're incentivizing, is benefiting our city?
So this is a little bit back to not being shy about this. There's the qualitative, like bang for the buck, we can be better off financially as a city, tax-wise, by doing this, and then there's the qualitative. I know that it helps, but it's kind of like Councilmember Funk and my back and forth right there. It's true. So it's true, but it's qualitative, and you can't trace it like that because it's electricity.
So,
but it's helpful.
Would it be fair to say we could very well be helping incentivize energy for another city who has no stake in this incentive?
There's not geographic boundaries to electricity, so I think in theory that's possible.
Okay.
Yeah, but we're going to be better off as a city. I have to say it back to us. We're going to be okay financially. because of the tax
So
law.
I think where I struggle is that I don't think it's been sold well enough as far as, yes, it can benefit the city in taxing districts, but I feel like this is different when we incentivize something like a project that brings something like a Costco or just things that where people, our community can we know they're going to use it. So there is benefit there. Whereas this is something that we know that it has some benefit to the city because of the taxing. Got it. But if it's not something in any way that's really going to benefit them personally in any way, I don't see how how we can justify that when Evergy has been not great to deal with lately. They really don't have our constituents in mind when they're doing something like this. I think that's pretty safe to say, because they're pocketing the revenue from this, and it's not coming back to the citizens in any reward whatsoever. So
This is not an Evergy. This does not help Evergy.
It doesn't
make
help them
money.
at all.
It avoids some capital expenditures like we talked about, which always get passed back to consumers.
This is I don't know anything about this, so
It's okay.
forgive me if I'm asking a silly question.
No,
But
it's not.
So is Evergy buying this energy back for a lot cheaper than what it costs to lose the energy, I guess?
No, Councilman Lovell actually nailed it in a really succinct way, which is we buy when there's excess energy, right? And we buy here, and then we sell back and there's a margin, and that's how you can afford over time to get paid back and have a reasonable return on $10 million. So Evergy isn't the direct winner there. Again, in theory, this is incremental, but in theory with BEST, the whole big idea here is it does create less need for more production of electricity. But ultimately, that helps the consumer because, one, it provides more supply in a time of high demand, which stabilizes costs, and it also means you're not going to get capital expenditures. Forget Evergy, right? Any utility, wherever we'd be, they're going to have to spend less on production because this is here during those high demand times, which helps the consumer 100% because all of those expenditures get passed back through our rates.
Okay.
That's the one I don't have a formula on, which I know isn't satisfying, but it's real. It is an incremental.
Yeah. Okay. I guess I still struggle because it's not lowering anything for our constituents. That's my biggest hurdle, I think. And also, I was doing some research and just reading up on this. Fires is kind of a thing with the BESS.
Mostly old technology. That's old battery technology. But
they did say that they have improved over time, but it's still an issue. And these are the kind of fires that they've said, I mean, these take 24 hours to put out. Like this is a big deal. So that would put stress on not to say it will happen, but it is, from what I'm reading, it is a possibility. And when it happens, it's kind of it takes a lot of resources. So I think it would put some strain on should that happen. So I think we need to think about that.
And just because I know you're doing what anybody do, you're looking on the internet. I will just say, having been able to work with a lot of BEST projects over the last 3-4 years, again, new technology, new batteries, it's very unlikely. Is it possible? Sure, just like a building can burn or an industrial building that has things inside that are flammable. So it's very unlikely with the technology today, and it's very unlikely to begin with. But yeah, there could be a fire.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Pryor?
I will go ahead and wait and let Councilmember Carlisle, since I've already
Councilmember
asked some
Carlisle?
questions, and then I'll do it after her.
Thank you. So they buy the electricity when there's too much on the grid so that it's not lost, and they store it, and then they sell it back.
That's right.
Are those transactions subject to franchise tax?
Let's see, franchise tax on buying, certainly on the buy side, and then also on the sale side? Yeah, I'm not sure either. The buy side for sure, sorry, we're both.
But so at least it will
Yeah.
also provide franchise tax.
For sure,
To
yeah.
the city of Lee's Summit, which is something we're losing by the minute usually. Okay. And then is this the only location, like looking in your future, since you're the one working on this, is this the only location in Lee's Summit that they're looking at that's next to a substation?
Yes for SMT and yes for just my kind of world right now. I don't have anyone else right now in Lee's Summit.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Pryor?
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to, I know my husband is a firefighter, and he did go to special training to learn how to do like car battery fires, like Teslas and stuff like that. So I was wondering if maybe Chief Eden or Chief Snyder, is there anything that do we need special equipment, or do we have everything we need for something like this?
Jim Eden, Fire Department. These are lithium-ion batteries. They're not any, I mean, obviously the chemistry has improved over the past few years, but they still have some unique hazards. Probably the biggest problem we have with these types of batteries is thermal runaway. And that's something that this is built into as far as building these batteries to code. One of the NFPA standards is 855, and it's something that is continuing to evolve. So we're learning more and more about batteries every day, and so we try to compensate for that. When we start looking at these types of fires, obviously we're trying to site them in such a way that if there is a problem with the battery, that it's isolated to one particular area. Excuse me. So if there is a fire, we're not really going to go in and put that fire out. What we're trying to do is cool the area around the fire and protect exposures. The problems that we run into that is it's not like your car fires where we have battery car fires. Usually on a regular combustion engine, we'll go in, put the fire out 20, 30 minutes, we're out. On a battery car fire, you're looking at 3 to 4 hours, if not longer. Problem with lithium-ion batteries is that the batteries can reignite very easily. Same thing applies to these types of operations. So when we have a fire, excuse me, in these types of situations, it's not kind of like house fire. We're going to go in, put it out, we go home. These are going to be 24, 48, 98, or 96-hour events, if not longer. And they're also having to look at evacuations. The smoke that comes off of these types of fires is very toxic. So initially, you're looking at evacuating an area, excuse me, of around 300 feet, but that can also go up to 1/3 of a mile. And when you start looking at the things in the area, we've got several senior housing areas that we have to look at. So those are all things that we have to consider. So as far as looking at the technology, excuse me, yes, it is improving, but there are still some hazards associated with it. And as far as our firefighting capabilities, excuse me, there really isn't a proven method of fighting these types of fires. We're still applying a lot of water just to primarily keep the areas cool, but we're not actually going and attacking those fires. Generally, the best practice is let it burn.
Okay, that was very helpful. I don't know if you're the one that I need to ask or someone else, but so it's right next to the airport. I know the chance of a plane crashing into it is pretty slim, but there are wrecks at the airport with airplanes. Is that anything that needs to, is that a concern at all?
No,
No.
not really.
But
I mean,
the
that could
airport
happen
would have to
anywhere.
be evacuated if there was a fire,
Pardon?
potentially. The airport would potentially have to be evacuated if there was a fire.
It depends on the direction of the wind.
Okay, okay.
Generally, isolation areas, again, are dependent on wind speed and direction. If it's a very small fire, we isolate it in a very small area.
Okay.
Generally, like on a car fire, you're looking at that guideline of a little over 300 feet of isolating in all areas. And looking at the larger fires, that's where that 1/3 of a mile comes into play.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
That was my only question. I just,
All right, thank you.
Councilman, do you mind just really fast if I'll make it short, because that's an important topic, because a lot of times, not in every city or county that we're in, but fire comes up. I mean, that's a natural question to ask with lithium-ion batteries. One, I just wanted to say that these are certified not to propagate, so there's systems. The whole idea of spreading, right, which in old school, they all light up, right? These have systems in place to help, that their main fire suppression system is that they will not propagate. There's a foam suppression system built in. Also, the idea, and not direct conflict here, but just I've read this again in the literature, if a Home Depot or certain industrial facilities were to catch fire and burn, it's going to be way more toxic. I mean, things we think of just natural fire. So any smoke you don't want to inhale. So when you read the studies, it's not something that's, dramatically different or worse than, you don't want anything burning, right, and inhaling it. So just wanted to put that out there. But overall, we take it very seriously. But these are in fact, one of the pictures I showed, just to show I have lots of pictures like this. I think I only put one in here. You can see where this is sited, right next to homes. I have other pictures I didn't load in here tonight in California next to playgrounds and, multifamily and things like that, meaning respect everything that's been said, and all that is good to consider, but there are definitely ways to get comfortable digging into everything I just said. So I just didn't want you to think it's a doomsday situation, because it's very common and many cities get comfortable. But thanks for letting me say that.
How are they making it work in Texas without an incentive, but they need an incentive here?
It's the regulatory environment. It's totally different in terms of the economics of the spread and just everything about it. It's just a totally different. I mean, if you think of a project, there's a certain amount of cost that goes in. There's a certain amount of business model on how much you think you can sell and what the spread's going to be, and then you have to pay back, your debt and your investors and everything. You put it all together, and it's a totally different environment than we're finding in the Midwest. So that's without again going super deep, that's the reality we're facing in this region.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, come back, please. Don't be going anywhere.
You say come back to me?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. I got it.
I'm so sorry you've.
You don't want to overstay my welcome.
No, you're skating around this whole regulatory thing all night, and so let me rephrase a question in a different way. So when you say it's a total different regulatory environment in Texas and California, are they regulating their electricity providers more, in a way that they kind of have to do this?
I'm saying it more of an economic. I can just change the word if we're getting hung up on regulatory. I'm saying that the economic model, which is to make a big investment like this, you have to have a reasonable expectation that you're going to get whatever the sufficient return is. That's a different scenario in other markets, but I can tell you right now, look at every single BEST project that some of them haven't even gone forward, but every BEST project that's in play I can definitely say Kansas and Missouri, all the way out to western Kansas to east of here, not just the Kansas area, Missouri, every single one of them right now is working on public incentives to help with the capital stack, where you just don't need it in some other markets.
The other markets, they have, they're also, though, in a situation where there's only one provider, because we only have, like in this location, Evergy.
That could be part of it.
Because, the regulation or the regulatory industry for Evergy would have to come from what, federal or state? Mr. Bushek, do you know about this stuff?
And it really gets into Southwest Power Pool. Again, we're kind of getting into the minutia, but.
So, I guess what I'm wondering is, I think that if, I can let everybody kind of start chiming in here, but I think if you were to move forward with this, probably need to focus on the opportunity cost you were talking about earlier, which is, for us, this is, I looked it up, it's about it's over 4 acres.
That's right.
What could you do with this? Could it be used for something else later? Could they sell it later? I mean, when we look at this, I think there's more of a concern about opportunity lost, like what could go here. And with this, you're talking about it being a net win for the city, benefit-wise, as in tax revenues. And I think if we could at least zero in on that and know that that was a benefit, that it'd be an easier decision for us to make, rather than, because you can see where we're going. We can't guarantee that this is a benefit just to City of Lee Summit. We can't see that this is just really going to, theoretically, yes, it should help our electricity costs, but I think if we were to do this over again, we would just focus on, I would focus on net opportunity, or the net benefit and the opportunity cost, because if another building went in here, it's a four acre lot, what would it likely be? It's not obviously developed before, but what would it be? It would be an industrial building, maybe. I don't know. It's on Strother. I mean, there's just a lot of questions here. Could this lot be subdivided because it's 4 acres? You guys are only using half of it. There's just a lot of little questions like that.
There's a possibility for that. It has to
Yeah.
do with the connection to the lines that they might have to connect to the north. If they don't, you're right, then we have some
really?
excess ground. Yeah, again, details, right? That
Yeah,
we'll
absolutely.
know through permitting.
But it's
can
right
I just
next-
say, my
it's right next
last
to the-
slide was what you're saying. The reason
Yeah.
I ended with the value proposition of the direct fiscal benefit to the city is, I think what you're saying, that is the most tangible, measurable. I just wanted to give the bigger picture of what BEST is all about and the general benefits to consumers, but the last slide is the one.
I mean, zoom ahead 30 years and maybe there's these types of properties everywhere with BEST, but right now it's novel to us.
It is. It's cutting edge here.
And we like to be cutting edge, but we have to be accountable too. So we'd have to be able to explain this to others, and we got a little ways to go before we could explain this. So I think that's just my thoughts on it. I got Councilmember Lovell wants to chime in. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so this is going to get pretty deep. So we're going to jump outside of, so like, first of all, like the way I try to measure things is like, yeah, there's $0 we gain. There's $1 incentive, like from taxes, but I don't really ever like try to focus on that, because you can easily say like, it's $0, you're going to get $189,000. What I feel like this is, and again, it's like if you create the incentive, there's a business model that comes out of it. I don't want to say this is wind farms, but we also heavily subsidize wind farms, and they turned out to be a total joke. I mean, they did not do anything to perform what they were, but we created a false economy with wind farms. I'm not saying we're doing this here, but there's an arbitrage, and someone's figured out how to put money into it and get a substantial gain, and then they're coming to us for an incentive to do it, and it's like, what is
70% of Kansas electricity at times, I have an uncle that's an energy lawyer, is funded by, is coming from wind, just to be in Kansas.
Right.
Just to be clear, like, so it is, wind is not, I know that's not what we're talking about, but I can't let it go. I mean, wind has been a huge
So that landman
impact.
scene wasn't right when he was explaining like how
Yeah, I
it works.
probably wouldn't go to landman
if you want to have a philosophical debate about the viability of wind farms and the money that we pumped in from the federal government and whether they were really good use of our taxpayer dollars that made a lot of people a lot of money, I'd be happy to do that with you. I don't think anybody wants us to do that. I'm not saying that's what's going on here, but I can't see the definite public benefit, and like to come in and say like, here's the incentive. I guarantee you, I mean, I'm just projecting out here, and I may be wrong, but bet a lot of these things get built up and get packaged up like a REIT and then sold in the aftermarket too, because they spin off cash. And so what I'm saying here is like, I don't know, like, is this really something good for us that benefits us? And is like, is it worth us giving the incentive to do it? Like, it's not much of an incentive, whatever, but we're also like, we're creating the economics for this business, and I'm having a hard time seeing the viability of it. And so I'm not trying to say it's wind farms, but I'm just trying to say like we're creating an incentive and a financial model on some arbitrage that we may or may not see a benefit from, but you're getting $189,000, and it's like, doesn't really solve our problem for energy needs or things like that. And so that's just my skepticism with this, and just being careful about like, look, incentives, we do a lot of incentives, and it's like, it's very hard up here to weigh like what's, this is small, like you said, it's small. There's a small amount of money that we're giving back, but like, if you go look at something, and we use Costco or whatever, and you think of the public benefit and the long-term effects, and here's the cost that goes to do that, and do we want those things, right? It starts to become more reasonable for me to see how those mechanisms work for a city. And this one, I feel like it's kind of like creating some sort of financial model for something that I just don't know that I see the public benefit for it. And so I just, like, right now, it's like, it feels, and I don't want to get in a situation in the city where it's like, we just have something and we have incentives and everybody just comes in and asks for them. So I just think like the line for me is always like, what is the real public benefit? Is this something that really is going to help us? Like, I mean, Councilmember Pryor has brownouts. I don't really have any energy issues, at least I'm not saying we won't in the future or whatever. So like, anyway, I'm rambling now, but it it just feels off to me. And it's like, if this is a viable business and they can work out something with Evergy and they can do it on its own merits, so be it, go do it. I think that's great. I just don't feel like it's a good use of public incentive to do. So that's just my position. Thanks. Thanks, Mayor.
All right, thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Lopez.
Thanks, Mayor. Mr. Peterson, I think this type of utility energy generation is very new in this market. And I think that's the part that I think most of us are having a hard time really maybe understanding, but also accepting, especially when, as you said, and you did a great job, like always, presenting the information. But as you said, it's new. We know what the cost benefit is, the new taxes we're generating, but just the concept itself is something we can't wrap our heads around. It's just too new. And for me, I agree with most of the comments my colleagues have made, but to me, you mentioned, this area sits within the Ignite comprehensive land use plan, and if it fits within what we had specified for this type of an operation, it does, but, that plan has been a guide. It's not like set in stone. And with recent investments we've made in that area, specifically with the airport, and knowing that the technology itself is not 100% fireproof, I guess I'll say it that way, that leads me to have concerns. I mean, me personally, the environmental risk that could happen on this site. I know the site itself has sat there for a long time. I know what the values are in that area from a real estate perspective. However, with the investments we've made and we continue to make on that side of the airport, I personally would have a hard time with this kind of a use for this property. With all the uncertainties that are there, I understand how utility companies work. I sit on a utility board in the state of Missouri. All these rate cases are made by the Public Service Commission. But what is going on here is my colleagues are correct. I mean, I think whether Evergy is directly involved or they're using SMT, they're still controlling the cost. And we're just not seeing a benefit to us as consumers and especially our constituents here. So I think that's why we're having a hard time really just taking the next step with this one. So that's all I have. Thanks, Mayor.
All right, thank you. Mr. Peterson, I don't have anybody else chiming in right now, so I think that I want to kind of just barely, if I can kind of thread this needle, like I'm not saying that it shouldn't be incentivized, or regulated. All of this, Missouri's different and Kansas are different than these other states, but I feel like maybe if it's going to be incentivized, it should be from the state or the federal, because this is crossing over boundaries that go outside the city of Lee Summit. So that's a little bit of a tough hurdle for a municipality. So I'm not sure how it's going with other municipalities when you're going before them, but I just think that yes, maybe this is something that we need to make happen in our state, but I'm not sure how to make that happen from our seats, from this dais, with our decision making, unless it's got that opportunity, the net benefit that you're talking about, with less risk of opportunity lost, because it's not a bad location. That's the thing. If this was in the middle of, that couldn't be developed as anything else, it's got sewer issues. It's got, I think a case could be made, but, if this was on the, not on a visible location, not, I see these houses right here that you have on the screen and such. I get it, but this is a tough location for us as far as the opportunity lost, probably. So anyway, I don't know if I've given you enough of a consensus tonight, but I think you've definitely heard from just about everybody up here. So
yeah, this is what the process is all about.
Yeah,
you have to go and run the economics and see if they can make it work.
Okay. Yeah, and the I don't know, partnerships. I don't know if there's a way to. We've done other things with multiple jurisdictions, but I know that's a long shot probably. But we're certainly willing to reconsider it if you want to bring it through, but I think we've given you some pretty honest feedback.
Yep,
So.
appreciate it, thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, we're going to go to proposed ordinances, first reading. We got a substitute bill here. Councilmember Pryor, would you please read substitute bill 25-230?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Okay, so on this, I just read bill number 20-230, floor substitute. Second reading, correct? Is that how I word this?
You want to move?
I move for a second reading, bill number 20-230, floor substitute. Okay. An ordinance partially exempting the city of Lee Summit, Missouri from the provisions of section 311.2026 of the Revised Missouri Statutes regarding the extension of hours for liquor licenses to sell, serve, and allow the consumption of alcoholic beverages during the 2026 FIFA World Cup tournament.
Thank you. We have a motion to move to second reading, substitute bill number 25-230. Okay, by Councilmember Pryor, seconded by Councilmember Shields. We've had a few presentations on this. Major Walters has spoken to us. We shelved this for a little while she convened with some of our retail, restaurant type of vendors and organizations. Last meeting, was it last meeting? It was last meeting, she came back and said, okay, this has occurred. We've worked out some different dates. And Major Walters, you don't need to come up here, but you do if I'm saying this wrong. Of course, the police's stand is, they'd still recommend that we stay with the other one, but this is something that they've talked about, and city staff has put in the form of an ordinance for us to consider approving with different dates. So it's a little bit of an in-between. Is that fair to say? These were dates that lined up with downtown Main Street, and I think Corey Day with the tourism department had kind of been involved in some of these conversations. So not dates, but hours. I'm sorry, hours.
Yes, sir. Major Walters, Police Department. Yes, the extended alcohol sales will go till 3 a.m. and just on specific dates related to Fan Fest and the World Cup FIFA game days.
So this was modified from the original 6 a.m. That came forward through, I don't know, it's been a couple of months, a few months.
Yes, modified from the original exempt completely out of allowing extension of alcohol sales and consumption.
Okay. All right, so questions for Major Walters or discussion? Either one. I'm open. Nope. All right, maybe I just thought they wanted to talk, and I started talking. I guess it wasn't necessary. Okay, we've been through this a few times. I will call for the vote. Please cast your vote. All votes are in. Please record the vote. Okay, we do pass it, 9-0. So there's a modification of the hours during the World Cup on certain dates, but we did not go full bore on the times. And they have to get a permit. Yep. Thank you for that. Okay, Councilmember Lovell, would you please read Bill number 26-006?
Thank you, Mayor. I move to advance the second reading Bill number 26-006, an ordinance submitting to the electors of the City of Lee Summit, Missouri at the election on November 3rd, 2026, the question of whether the City of Lee Summit should provide for residential citywide solid waste collection services.
All right, thank you. We have a motion to move to second reading, Bill number 26-006 by Councilmember Lovell, seconded by Councilmember Hodges. All right. Any discussion? We've talked about this one quite a few times as well. All right, seeing none, please cast your vote. All votes are in. Please record the vote. Passes 8-1. So that goes to second reading. Councilmember Shields, would you please read Bill number 26-007?
Thank you, Mayor. I move for second reading Bill number 26-007, ordinance providing for an election of municipal officers by voters in the city of Lease Summit, Missouri, at the general election to be held April 7th, 2026, and providing that notice of said election be given.
All right, thank you. We have a motion to move to second reading, Bill number 26-007 by Councilmember Shields, seconded by Councilmember Hodges. Discussion. Seeing none, please cast your vote. Okay. All votes are in. Please record the vote. It's unanimous. And it moves to second reading. Thank you. Councilmember Hodges, would you please read Bill number 26-008?
I advance to second reading, Bill number 26-008, an ordinance accepting Final Plat entitled Hearne's Addition, lots 19A to 19D, as a subdivision to the city of Lease Summit, Missouri.
Thank you. We have a motion to move to second reading, Bill number 26-008 by Councilmember Hodges, seconded by Councilmember Carlisle. Discussion. Seeing none, please cast your vote. All votes are in. Please record the vote. That bill moves to second reading unanimously. Thank you. Councilmember Pryor, would you please read Bill number 26-009?
I move to advance to a second reading, Bill number 26-09, an ordinance approving the tax increment financing contract between the East Village Investors, LLC, and the City of Lease Summit, Missouri for the East Village Tax Increment Financing Plan.
Thank you. I have a motion to move to second reading, Bill number 26-009 by Councilmember Pryor, seconded by Councilmember Shields. Discussion. Seeing none, please cast your vote. All votes are in. Please record the vote. That bill moves to second reading, 8-1. Thank you. And Councilmember Rader, would you please read Bill number 26-10?
Thank you, Mayor. I move to advance the second reading ordinance approving the cooperative agreement among East Village Investors, LLC, the Oldham Village Transportation Development District, and the City of Lease Summit, Missouri to implement the Transportation Development District.
Thank you. I have a motion to move to second reading, Bill number 26-10 by Councilmember Rader, seconded by Councilmember Hodges. Discussion. Seeing none, please cast your vote. All votes are in. Please record the vote. The bill passes 8-1. Or it does not pass. It moves to second reading, 8-1. All right. Next, we have committee reports.
Mayor, before we proceed forward, Councilmember Lovell, did you intend to recuse on those two items involving Oldham Village?
Oh, shoot, yeah.
You can give the direction for the clerk to record you as a recusal as opposed to, if
Can
that's
you
your desire.
record me as a recusal on those two items?
Okay. Those will be 7-1 votes on the last two. With one recusal. So that would be Bill number 26-009 and Bill number 26-10. Are you good? All right, thanks. All right, committee reports. Councilmember Shields.
Thank you, Mayor. We will have Finance and Budget Committee tomorrow afternoon, 4 p.m. in Chambers, and we are going to be having a very exciting discussion about project delivery methods, including design, bid, build, construction manager at risk, and design build, just to get a better understanding of how those work and what situations are used in. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, anybody else? Committee report? All right, council comments. Councilmember Pryor.
Thank you, Mayor. So a couple things, and I know I spoke to Mr. Elam about it, but I have gotten a few phone calls. Actually, a lot of them have been from District 2 about a smell of manure of the, I guess, people fertilizing. So the call I received today, it was in a farm between Stewart and Jefferson. So I just wanted to say that it's been addressed. He is going to consult, I guess I'll let him explain, just because I know that there's about 10 people in Lease Summit that are concerned about this, which I think all of Lease Summit could smell it a couple Saturdays ago.
Oh yeah, good afternoon or good evening again. Ryan Elam, Assistant City Manager. We've had water utilities actually out there. We've also had fire out there. I can kind of confirm both of those. We need to review our ordinances and determine if we do have any ordinance violations associated with that. But we've got to review that right now. So we are looking into the area.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, Councilmember Pryor, was there something else?
Nope,
Okay,
that's all. Thank you.
Councilmember Hodges.
I had a question because I have some people asking me. So can somebody explain to me, I guess I was even under the impression that with Green Street, with the market, I thought that we did the indoor, because I guess I thought we were going to be open all year round. And so I know a lot of people have been going there on Saturdays, just different Saturdays, and like, well, why aren't we open? Like, so I guess I'm confused, so I just want some clarity on like what the direction of that is in the future, like what we're thinking and why we're not open.
Yeah, good evening again, Ryan Elam, Assistant City Manager. So the farmers market aspects of that are managed by Downtown Main Street, and for this initial year of the initial opening, when they had all their vendors and everything selected in there, they weren't able to have the vendors get the commitments for the entire year. Just with being a new facility and not knowing a couple of different things on that. So they had to kind of shorten that season, and then they had planned their season out to have 2 of the holiday markets. Going forward in the future, as in right now, we're currently in planning modes to extend that season out to be all year. So that is something that we're working with Downtown Main Street on. And as soon as we have the final details of that, we will make sure that is publicly broadcast and available, as we know exactly what those dates are. The goal is to get to a year-round market. Hopefully that'll be able to occur this next year. If not, it will be the year after that, as we work through the initial operations of that on working with the market vendors and things like that.
Okay, so is there a schedule where people can, where it's readily available, say, okay, before they show up at the door and there's nothing there?
Yes, the Green Street website.
Okay, so they have every, like a schedule for?
There's a schedule of events on the Green Street website, as well as on the marquees that are the signs that are out here at the, I'm losing my words, kiosks. Okay. We've got 2 kiosks out here that have kind of a schedule of the quarterly events, as well as the Green Street socials. They all have the schedule of events on there.
Okay.
So.
Okay, no, I think that's great. And I think as long as the city is sharing that as well is helpful, because I feel like that's just the main hub for, if anything's going on city, people check the city website, or, the city Facebook even.
Yep. There's also a Green Street newsletter that you can sign up for as well.
Okay.
As well. So.
Okay, yeah, I think I just wanted to make sure, like, I just want to make sure we're utilizing, because there's a lot of taxpayer dollars going in there that showing up to an empty building on especially a Saturday is kind of a little disappointing. So I hope we're working with Downtown Main Street, whatever we have to do to make sure that is successful, I guess.
Yep.
Thank you. Appreciate your answer.
Thank you. Okay, staff roundtable.
Thank you, Mayor. Just one item. This is David Bushek's last meeting as a city employee, but we will still be seeing David, but he will be with Gilmore Bell, providing, the services, same services he provides for us for a lot of the economic development. So we wish David all the best as he goes back to Gilmore Bell. So just wanted to mention that.
All right, thank you. Gosh. Yeah, we could motion to not accept his resignation.
We could tie him to the chair.
I know we get to still work with you, but man, it's been a great ride. So thank you. I'm going to need somebody to read us into closed session. Do you want to go to a closed session just for kicks? And you are one of our attorneys, so you're privy. You could just hang out for the next. They're so fun. Councilmember Shields, would you please?
Sure. Pursuant to Section 610-21-1 of the Revised Statutes of the State of Missouri pertaining to legal actions, causes of action, or litigation involving public governmental body, and any confidential and privileged communication between a public governmental body or its representatives and its attorneys, and pursuant to Section 610-21-9 of the Revised Statutes of the State of Missouri pertaining to preparation, including any discussion or work product on behalf of a public governmental body or its representatives for negotiations with employee groups, I move to enter closed session.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion to move into closed session by Councilmember Shields, seconded by Councilmember Hodges. Discussion? Seeing none, can I get a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Shields.
Aye.
Councilmember Hodges.
Aye.
Councilmember Rader.
Aye.
Councilmember Funk. Aye. Councilmember Lovell.
Aye.
Councilmember Pryor.
Aye.
Councilmember Carlisle.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Lopez.
Aye.
Mayor Baird.
Aye. Everybody have a great night.